welcome to Potter Revisited, episode 98. I'm Tori.
And I'm Shay.
Today we are covering the Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire movie.
Or, as we like to call it, Harry Potter and the Year of the Regrettable Haircuts.
So just at the top, before we kind of get into the film of it all, I wanted to just go over a few Goblet of Fire movie facts and then talk a bit about my memories of this movie. This movie was released in November in 2005. Just it's over like 10 years old.
Wow, we are
Crazy how
ancient
it goes.
beings.
So this was a new director as well, and we kind of get into the habit of new directors until Order of the Phoenix, where it kind of sticks. But this was directed by Mike Newell, as Alfonso left after A Prisoner of Azkaban. And this
R.I.P.
was
Alfonso. He
actually,
will be
yeah,
missed. He's not dead. He
no,
just left.
he had other things he wanted to do, just like Columbus. But this was originally considered the possibilities where they really talked about splitting this into two movies, which it definitely had like the content to do. And originally, Chris Columbus was like consulted with like the producers and like the group about
hmm
like kind of how they would do this movie, and all the directors and the producing team kind of said like, okay, we should split it into two books. But WB was like, no, we're not doing that. Cut it down.
It's it's funny for a number of reasons. First
Yeah.
being that there is enough content to split it into two films, but I don't think there's a nice spot to do so. I
Yeah,
think
that was
any ending
that was the
point
problem they were
feels
having.
very awkward to me. And then
Mhm.
my other point is it's funny looking back now because even if there isn't a good sort of midway ending point, WB would have said yes nowadays just for the money. Then it's
Yes.
funny that they said no to what's obviously just like a boatload of money.
Yeah.
Splitting
At
it in
the
half would have
time,
just
like
extended the money.
yeah, part movies weren't really done at the time. Even when they split Deathly Hollows, it's only because it was the last movie and they kind of needed to. And they didn't really know if it'd be successful. But then splitting franchises became such a thing to do that like all the fantasy movies afterwards were splitting movies and doing parts and stuff. Like you look at The
Yeah.
Hobbit or Mockingjay. Like even when it wasn't really
I mean,
necessary, they were splitting it.
The Hobbit was one book.
Yeah.
Didn't need to be three
Exactly.
parts.
But it's interesting that this was the first time they really considered it, and obviously the WDB wasn't into it, and also like they did say that there wasn't really a spot to cut it where it didn't feel awkward.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, some plot points got cut out, but I think overall it did work for the film.
Yeah. It was okay. Like I said, I think it's the right choice to have it be one film.
And also, I believe Emma Watson mentioned this in the anniversary special, but this was the film that she considered leaving after. She wasn't sure she wanted to continue with Harry Potter after this. It was a big commitment. She was growing up in the public eye.
Which can be incredibly difficult for anyone,
Yeah.
but especially when you're the primary female
Yes.
character in a franchise.
Yeah.
It's got to be incredibly uncomfortable to become a teenager in the eyes of the
Yes.
public, the way people
Yes.
are. And
Yeah. So it was
I would have
definitely, it's
totally
interesting.
understood her desire
Yeah.
to leave. I'm very glad that she didn't.
Yeah. We're glad that she didn't. But yeah, it's interesting that this was the movie where like she had a lot of pressure, I think, on her with Hermione also growing up in the eyes of like the audience as well. And
hmm
it was a lot of pressure on her as the female lead, and but thankfully she decided to stay. So going into some of my personal memories of this film. So I think I've talked about my Harry Potter story, how I read Prisoner of Azkaban first. And so I read that in 2004, and obviously the movie came out that summer in 2004. But when I finished Goblet of Fire, this was the first movie I had to wait for because it didn't come out till the next year. And I convinced my friend for her birthday because her birthday was in November. I'm like, let's go see this for your birthday. So that's what we did. And it was fun because we were the only two that had read the book. And this is like something I really absorbed seeing like the book and movie and having like really big differences. Because despite how they did cut stuff out of Prisoner of Azkaban, but I think generally it was pretty much the same as the book. It followed the same kind of
Yeah,
like plot line. But there's like plots missing in Goblet of Fire, which was the
absolutely.
first
And
time
I
that
think
really
it's
see that.
just what happens when the books increase. It's almost
Yeah.
double the size.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they had to cut more. And I don't hate most of what they cut. I think most of what they did was relatively well done, and I understand most of the cuts they made.
Other points I want to make is that this movie actually has, I think, one of the best Harry Potter scores. I was like listening to it as I was getting the notes ready for this episode, and I'm like, this movie score
Mhm.
is kind of bomb.
I will get back to this later, but every song is an absolute hit that doesn't have lyrics. We have
Yeah.
two instances of singing with lyrics in this film,
Yeah.
and it is egregious. And we'll get to that, but my goodness.
And my last point is just that we're going to get into the hair of it all when it comes
Oh yeah.
up. But I'm like, this movie is just, it really cements itself in like mid 2000s for the hair. Like, we'll talk about the hair as it comes up on
Oh
screen,
yeah.
but like the hair of it all, it's
Actually,
just, I mean, I'll say it. I think this is Harry's ideal hair, this movie.
Harry actually pretty spot on, but everyone else, it's like
Everyone else.
it's a
I
no.
mean,
It's just mm,
I mean,
mm. It's fine. We'll get there.
yeah, so we definitely have the opening dark, very much darker. This
Yep.
music with like the stings. It's just very cinematic. And I love how it also goes into the Riddle House itself because this was very different when we were reading this, that like we weren't starting with Harry.
Also, we're not on an owl.
Oh my God. I'm glad that part got cut out.
We're on the snake instead, actually, and this makes sense. This is a
Yeah.
logical change. Owl makes no sense. Snake, everything about that makes sense.
Keeping up with that theme song, but just slightly changed.
We talk about how gorgeous that house is.
They really brought back like the old manor vibes.
Yeah, I'm such a sucker for a
And despite
English
everything that
country
got cut,
estate.
they stayed with Frank. We get a little bit of Frank, which is nice.
Yeah, it makes me very happy. Again, I think because we don't start with the Dursleys, it humanizes the film a bit more. It puts it in reality. You start in the Muggle world, sort of with the Muggle experience, and it just makes the magic world seem more real when they show how they connect a little bit. Also, he's just so sweet. Look at him go.
Yeah.
Can we agree that like live in a cute cottage next to a massive estate and just make sure no one breaks in is kind of a dream job?
Yeah. Except for those pesky teens.
Yeah.
Or what he assumes are pesky teens. I think for
They
like
weren't.
this generally has had no dialogue yet, and the chapter with like the Riddle House had so much backstory, but we don't really need it in the movie because we're kind of already kind of established. You kind of see the riddle on the graveyard.
Yeah.
Something suspicious is happening.
It's a good example of show, don't tell.
Yes, and then when you see Wormtail, then you kind of put it together.
I feel like if I haven't read the book in a long time and I sit down to watch this movie, I'm always a little bit confused because I kind of forget about Frank and I'm like, where are we? Who is this man? Like,
Yep.
also that hat, that is such a distinctively English hat.
Got little David Tennant. I'll talk about him a bit later
Hmm.
because I have thoughts.
Doctor Who really gets around. He's a busy guy.
Still always crazy to think about how many big name actors were like in it in the early days. Like freaking David Tennant just there.
Yeah. A lot of these British actors were incredibly famous in the UK, just not so much in North America. Like a lot of them were
Yeah.
stage actors.
Yeah. See, this was a great transition, I think.
Yeah, the
So we
kettle.
lead to Harry, and so we're just completely skipping over the Dursleys. So this is a big
I
controversy because that was kind of like the establishing point is that we always start with the Dursleys, Harry goes back to school.
yeah.
But it made sense, I think, for this book because so much happens before they go to school,
Yeah. I
and
think
they need to get the ball rolling.
I think the bit with Frank does a good job of sort of still setting us starting in the Muggle world so
Yeah.
we can sort of feel the real ground under our feet before we get swept up in the magic. But I do feel like not having the Dursleys takes away a bit from the juxtaposition we feel from Harry leaving a sad, isolated, abusive household to going to his happy places and being part of a real family that loves him. Like I feel like that sort of whiplash between
Mhm.
his two lives is good, and I do kind of miss it in this film.
Yeah, it's also kind of sad because there were some really funny moments with Dudley and the Tum Toffee and stuff that like would have
I
been great to see.
know.
But I get that like they have to cut stuff down.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense to start because the Quidditch World Cup's important to the overall plot, so that needs to be
Yeah.
included.
There's
And
other
we
things
have
they could have cut
Robert
out.
Pattinson's introduction as Cedric
He is
and
such a great
Amos.
actor now. He spent
Yeah.
so many years, everyone thought he was a bad actor, and it turns out no one acted well in Twilight.
Like I just feel like there wasn't like really good characterization, like strong characters in Twilight. They're
Yeah.
all very flat. So he did what he could.
Kristen Stewart is an amazing actress, just not in that. And same with Robert Pattinson. It's so funny.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy how fast this movie starts because it's basically
Yeah.
like Voldemort, then we're at the Weasleys, leaving the Weasleys, and then we're at a port key and we're going to the
Yeah.
World Cup. But see, this is ideal Harry hair. Like it's shaky, but it's like because his hair is kind of wavy, it kind of works for that messy kind of look that Harry's always described as having like really messy, sticking up everywhere hair. And just
I
he's
wish
supposed
it
to
was
have
a
like
little bit
lot of hair.
curlier. just a
Yeah.
little bit curlier.
It was, the mid 2000s. They didn't want curly hair. It wasn't in. But I love, like, they don't really focus a lot on everything that happened when we were at the World Cup, who we talked to and stuff. But I feel like this kind of transitional montage kind of, so it gives you the excitement of the World Cup and just like everything that's going on.
I pretty much just miss out on hearing about that woman's eel farm. That's really what
Yeah.
I miss from like the pre-cup banter.
Or the old man in the woman's dress, but the pivotal scene with the tent. I was obsessed with this.
Yeah.
This can only be real life.
This is
I
magic. Like this is what
what?
I want to
Yeah,
see. This is the whimsy.
yeah, yeah. Like, look at that. Amazing.
It's also like my aesthetic. It's so like bohemian, I guess. Like it's
Yeah.
really the carpeted walls and it's really cute. I love it. The window.
Also, this whole thing as well, as we kind of skip over the Weasleys at home, we don't get Bill and Charlie, which is kind of sad.
And like Charlie isn't really plot necessary in this
Yeah.
entire film, but Bill is in the long run because of what happens with him and Fleur. So it kind of feels like
hmm
the author hadn't figured out that Fleur and
Well,
Bill
I
were going
feel
to be a
that
thing when this film came out.
I think
So she
whatever they
just
didn't
excluded him
cover,
entirely.
I think what they didn't cover in this movie, they were like, oh, we'll just move it into the next
Mhm.
movie. But obviously
Yeah.
they cut a lot, or the Phoenix, and then
Mhm.
stuff, they got into an issue where things that were important came back in Deathly Hallows that they didn't cover. So they had to go around and be like, oh, by the way, this happened. How do you feel about them not actually showing the Quidditch game?
Oh, it's a travesty. I understand it's really expensive, but they showed this. Like, just
Yeah.
give us the Warinsky feint. Like, give us two plays, what we deserve. What really gets me is they have the Weasley family cheering for different teams based on what they're
Yeah.
wearing. And like, could you imagine going to like a Leafs game with your dad and you show up in like Senators merch or something? Like,
Oh my God,
that's
he
not
would
how
disown
families
me.
can exist.
He disowned me.
Exactly.
So we're establishing Crumb
Yeah.
here. Apparently, Victor only has like 20 lines or something he just says in the whole movie. And I'm like, that kind of sounds like Victor. It's not much.
He's a strong
Yeah,
silent type.
he's not talking much.
He's a physical being. He was your crush, right? You had a big old crush on Victor Crumb.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it was more based on the book. I don't know if it was a crush on him or just the idea of him. I was just very
Fair.
into Victor as a character when I was 10.
That's fair. It's healthier than mine, so I'm not judging.
Yeah. Age appropriate, maybe. More age appropriate, I should say.
Not a crime.
So this afterwards thing is just so I love this so much because it just reminds like after like a hockey game.
I hate how quickly they jump, though. It's so frustrating to just miss on all the Quidditch. Like, I
hmm
remember seeing this in theater being like, where did the Quidditch go?
It's because there's no Quidditch in this movie too. Like they cut it obviously wasn't a part of it, but this was the only Quidditch in this whole movie, and Quidditch was
Yeah.
very essential to the earlier movies. So it does
Yep.
feel kind of odd not having it at all.
I lied. This song is great. When I said all the lyric songs in this film are bad, The Victor I Love You is a bop.
So they make this a bit more, I think, chaotic than it was in the book. Like Harry, Ron, and Hermione don't actually witness anything besides seeing like the Muggles, and this makes it me feel like more like a stampede and crazy. And
Yeah.
of course, Harry just happens to get knocked out.
Classic Harry. I think they did a very good decision by being sort of blatant in the symbolism of making the Death Eaters wear the KKK hats, like very
Yeah,
obviously a racist mob of pure
yeah.
hate. And like anyone who hadn't already made that connection is going to see them walking in this film in those hats and know what the Death Eaters represent. It's scary, you know? This is a beautiful shot.
Really shows the destruction, I think. In the book, we get kind of hear about it, but here it's just kind of showing what the Death Eaters did.
Yeah.
But here we have David Tennant, who's obviously playing Barty Crouch Jr., and I just kind of hate how obvious the movies make that Barty Crouch Jr. is like the Death Eater working for Voldemort. Like, I love in the book how it was such a mystery and a surprise, and you kind of had that Scooby-Doo-esque moment where it's just like, how is it this person this whole time? And in the movies, they make it so obvious by actually showing him with Voldemort, showing him do it when they didn't know who it was. And
Yeah.
obviously later on, he has like this tongue flick, which he'll do, I think, here at some point, and they kind of connect it to Moody doing it later on in the movie. And I just find it like, I get it's for kids, so they want kids to know who the bad guy is and
Yeah. They
connect it.
definitely,
But I think it's better as a surprise.
I think that David Tennant is a more subtle actor than
Yeah,
that choice of the tongue thing. And I think for sure the production crew or the
yeah,
directors
made him do it.
told him you need to add something in, some visual cue that'll make people suspicious. And he had
hmm
to do that. but I
Yeah.
think he could have done it better if they let him and had it be less obvious and kind
Yeah.
of like cheesy.
Like I do think there's an issue in children's media where they want to really dumb it down for the kids, so they make those connections. But kids are so much more intelligent than like a lot of media gives them credit for. And I feel
Yeah.
like the way the books are written, like you think of a Scooby-Doo episode where it's like you're putting together the clues and then you're revealed at the end, and that's like it's kind of like rewarding to kind of see it. And
Yeah.
it kind of takes it away by kind of it reveals its cards too early. And it just comes off really cheesy. And I remember thinking that seeing it when I was a kid, and I still think it now, that it just comes off really cheesy.
I think the lip thing is just too obvious. They could have, if they needed it to be a
Yeah,
visual cue, they could have done something subtler. Because to me, it's like he's trying to lick Pringle dust off of his lips all movie or something.
yeah. Speaking
That's
of,
beautiful. I mean, terrifying, but like I
yeah.
really like the way they chose to
So
display the dark mark.
moving quickly along here, we're now on our way to Hogwarts. So there's not a lot of just like, it's a lot of fast transitions in the first bit of this to kind of
Hmm.
get us going.
It's kind of jumpy, but I don't hate it because I know there's a lot of stuff they would have had to
Yeah,
cut
I
to put in a bunch of
remember
filler crap, you know?
Mike Newell said that he was looking at a lot of thriller movies to kind of base this off of because those are really fast paced and they knew that they needed like a fast paced movie because it's a lot of action in the movie first of all with all the challenges, but also like they really needed to move the plot along to make sure they were doing stuff that was important to the like the overall plot of the book and like what they
Yeah.
cut out wouldn't leave gaps. Our introduction to Cho.
She's so pretty. They did a great job of
Yeah.
casting her, I think.
Katie Lang's gonna be in Bridgerton now too. Crazy.
Oh, that's so fun. Good for her. She deserves it. I hope she's a fun character to be.
Also, they kind of took from Prisoner of Azkaban, where they really rely on the teens being in like street clothes, which isn't
Yeah.
my favorite thing because I love the
No.
wizard clothes.
Put your damn
But
robes on.
but I guess it's supposed to show like their individual characters and stuff. But like, I just miss the robes.
I liked it when it was rare to see them in Muggle clothes because then they
Mhm.
had an opportunity to show you a bit, but
Yeah,
especially because they don't actually have distinctive styles. Like if one of them was very distinctive, it would give us more, but it just seems like they kind of have basic clothes they throw on. Like it doesn't
yeah.
give me anything.
It does date the movies because you can tell it's like mid 2000s. This also happens really fast because we are all of a sudden, Boba Pounds and Durmstrang are just coming. We've had no like
Yeah.
introduction to this. They're just
Does
like
that make sense to the movie watchers who
I
haven't
feel
read the
like
books?
I don't think so. Everyone's just like, what's happening? Who's coming
Who
to
the heck are these
Hogwarts?
people?
Like they do say it later, but I
Yeah.
feel like maybe there could have been I don't know some scene where they're just like, we're hosting this tournament. They are really all great scenes though, just seeing like the arrivals and how like really cool they are.
Yeah. It's really, really cool to see. I wonder if this is where the Quidditch budget went. Like they're like, we can
Yeah.
only have so many awe-inspiring moments. So
I think it was
either flying
more,
horses or
yeah.
Quidditch.
It was probably just like a plot pacing thing that like the Quidditch actual match isn't that
Mhm.
important to the overall plot.
Yeah.
I do like how they add a little bit of humor into like a lot of these scenes. You'll see it a lot later, but like this book is kind of like the turning point where things get a lot darker. So they really do try to like insert those humorous moments to kind of like, it's still kind of children's, it's still kind of whimsy, fantasy, kind of fun. Like the twins have a lot of like really great moments in this
Yeah.
film, especially.
They have a big job of carrying a lot of the humor and they do it well.
So also what the movies do is obviously they genderize the schools. So now Bobaton's is an
Genders.
all-girls school, Durmstrang's an all-boys school. Obviously the entrances are really cool, especially the
Yeah.
Durmstrang one. But I just don't get like why it needed to be gendered.
Yeah. They gendered it so there'd be an easier juxtaposition between the two schools and so
Yeah.
that kids watching the movie could look at someone and know which school they came from easier. Although I personally think the uniforms do that enough.
Yeah, that's what I think the uniforms do it. I
And I
wonder if
kind
it's
of
more
like,
they show like I guess like the feelings that like Ron and Hermione are having for the opposite sex, and it's like, oh, Durmstrang boys, macho,
mhm.
and then it's like, Bobaton's
Yeah.
feminine, beautiful,
Yeah, exactly. While the entrances are epic, they're also incredibly gendered
gendered. Yeah.
stereotypical as well. Like I get France having like a lot of ballet and stuff, so the graceful dancing bit is cool,
Hmm.
but it's very feminine and the
Yeah.
Durmstrang entrance is very masculine.
Part of me also wonders if it was for merch. I don't know what toys they were doing, but I remember toys in this period were very gendered, if you can remember, back to like
Yeah.
2005. And a lot of times movies will do things based on like how they will sell toys.
Okay. So they only wanted to sell, I mean, to me, if you're going to sell like Barbies of them, you're only going to sell a Victor Crumb from Durmstrang one. So you Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if there's girls at Durmstrang. You're only making the Durmstrang doll of
Yeah.
creme.
I think
You're
it's
only
just like
making
what they're trying
Fleur.
to emphasize about the schools that Durmstrang's, macho and tough.
And
You
they like
need
the
to
dark
emphasize.
arts and they're
Yeah, I do
gruff.
like the dark arts. And Fleur and Beauxbatons, oh, she's feminine, she's beautiful, she's blonde.
She wears blue silk. It's very stereotypical
Yeah.
judgments of France as well as of Eastern Europe.
That little scene with Karkaroff and Snape.
Having a look.
Oh, I love like this idea of how Hagrid is just so taken with Madame Maxine.
I mean, he's like, finally, a woman of a decent height.
A woman of my caliber.
I like that the horses only drink whiskey. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's not good for your horse, but it's magic, so
Yeah,
sure.
we had a whole conversation about that in the books. I still
It's
don't
gonna be
know.
expensive too. Like whiskey is expensive and horses are big and those horses
I
are really
mean,
big.
I guess Beauxbatons is like, flush of cash. Remember, glory is the priority. See, look at all the boys' hair, except for Dean. Everyone's hair is all long and shaggy. Like, look at this.
Yeah, they've got like mom shopping at Target hair, the twins. It's
But it's so funny because that was such the style. Like, if I look back to my fifth grade photos, all the boys in my class had really long, shaggy hair. Like, I was calling it like, it's like skater hair. That's been like skateboarding was really
yeah,
big. They all got well-needed haircuts in, or the Phoenix. Although I'm sad that Daniel Radcliffe cut all his hair off because his was very severe.
yeah,
We've got Mad-Eye Moody, which I think he looks very kind of spooky, but also kind of like whimsical. I feel like
yeah,
the books, I think I talked about this in an episode when he comes in, but he's described looking very gruesome in the books, and I feel like they kind of like made him look a bit more kooky for, that PG-13 rating.
yeah. They definitely PG-13'd him for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but he still looks gruesome, but like more in like a
He's
fun way instead of a
yeah,
scary way.
and he still looks like he's like drinking on the job.
I mean, Hagrid does it. And so here
Yes.
we have Mr. Crouch. So interesting enough, Ludo is the one that got cut. His whole plot line, his whole existence
Yeah.
cut, which is a shame because I feel like the blackmail plot was really fun with Fred and George.
Yeah.
Seeing them being like really secretive is so out of character for them when they're really usually in on everything
Yeah.
and really fun and easygoing. Seeing them being like really cagey and secretive
Yeah.
was interesting, but obviously don't have time for Ludo and he doesn't really add
Mm.
much to the overall plot
I do
besides
want to
being a
say
bad person.
I do want to say from a costuming perspective, I think they did a great job on Barty Crouch. The
Yeah.
like the pinstripe suit, the vest, the little pocket watch chain. Like I think they did a
Mhm.
great job on dressing him. And if I just saw his outfit and not his head, I would have probably guessed who he was. Like it's
Yeah.
perfect. I do wish that Percy was around. Percy's missing.
Yeah. I actually read this. So apparently the actor that played, I think Christian Rankin, was it Chris Rankin, I think his name is, who plays
Yeah.
Percy, he was signed on for 4 movies. So he had to be in 4 movies, but it didn't say what ones they had to be. So I guess
Oh,
because he was only signed on for 4, they knew they needed him in Order of the Phoenix. So they're just like, you know
yeah.
what, if he's not super important, because they're cutting out all like the stuff that they can't include. But he's super
Yeah.
important for or the Phoenix. So like, okay, we'll keep him for that, and he was fine with that. But it is sad because I do think the Percy and Crouch moments would have been really funny to see because we see Percy is so serious in the movies,
Yeah.
and then see him kind of being like talked down to by Crouch and him just taking
Yeah.
it. It could have
I
been
mean,
really
even
funny.
just having him in the background when Crouch
Mhm.
is in the scenes at like the
Yeah.
cup and stuff would have been nice touches for us readers. His writing is abysmal. That's how I know he's a real teacher at heart. I think it's funny that this man, who's described as grotesque and horrifying, is the actor, is the father of the guy who plays Bill, who's described as hot as shit.
Yeah,
Like it's just
the
funny.
hottest Weasley. Yeah.
Hottest person you could ever imagine, canonically. Were there
This
two-way
feels
tickets to Azkaban?
this feels very moody. Like I feel like this encapsulates him. It also feels like you're almost in a class.
Yeah, he's so good. I love him so much.
So they include the spider part of this chapter, which I don't like.
Yeah, even as a person who hates spiders, I don't want to see them dying slowly and
Yeah.
painfully, you know? Especially because he's nice to it at first. It thinks he's a friend. The way they film this part
Yeah.
doesn't make it look like he's controlling its mind. It just looks like he's moving it around with his wand, like basically using
Mhm.
Accio or like any other moving
Yeah.
option.
I guess it's hard to kind of show like how it would work and be different
Yeah,
from other spells because it's mind control. So how do you really show that?
with a spider. Yeah. The drowning, I guess, does it.
So we actually have Neville kind of being a focus in this movie, which is interesting because he does play a bigger part in the next movie as well. And he also takes over kind of Dobby's part in it
Yeah.
all. with helping Harry with the second task. So also apparently Matthew Lewis lost like a ton of weight when he like I guess went through puberty or whatever. And so they had him wear a fat suit for like I think this film and the next two,
Wow.
which is interesting because like that's something that people did, in the 2000s to a
Yeah.
while ago, and just something you just wouldn't do now.
Yeah. I mean, they do it now still, I'm sure, but people question it and bring it up and
Hmm.
criticize it
Yeah.
more than they used to.
And you can really see like Matthew Lewis was only in it for like a little bit as Neville. Neville's just kind of always in the background, but he like really, I think this is like a really shining scene for him.
Yeah, he really
You can really
does.
see how upset he is, but it's still kind of just like he won't say obviously because he's Neville.
Yeah, he really owns the scenes that he's in.
And this scene, I think, is amazing. The transition from the death to like focusing on Harry, the score in the background, and just like the absolute silence. And Harry just kind of like Daniel Radcliffe plays it really well, where he's just like, he's seeing how like he could have
Yeah,
died, how his parents died.
I wish they showed more moving staircases in the later films. Ron gets it. Like he's like
Yeah,
terrifying, horrifying, but awesome.
yeah. And Neville's like right there. Neville, are you okay? Like, please, no.
Like, help me, Harry, help me. I like this transition, zooming in on the sad face in the stained glass window with the rain making it cry. Really nicely done.
Nice and rainy. And kind of cool, you see Neville in the background. He's reading the book that Moody gave him. So kind of like a little foreshadowing in the background there.
The little things. He's so modest, his friends kind of have to throw
Yeah.
him over the line.
Yeah. Like Ron says hi and he ignores him.
Oh, Ron.
I also like see they're in the uniforms here, but they make it their own because like Harry's has his rolled up and stuff,
Yeah.
and their ties are loose.
This part's fun.
Yeah, I can't get over their hair in this scene.
Yeah,
So obviously, trying to go over the age line, it seems to work until it doesn't, and I'm glad they kept this scene in because this is really funny.
I agree.
So it's interesting that I think this is revealed in the anniversary special, but when they were rehearsing this scene, the director was kind of showing, I think, Oliver how he wanted him to like really like fight with James, and then Oliver ended up like breaking a few of the director's ribs. It's
Such
a
a
fluke
story.
thing, but yeah, it's kind of funny to think about.
I kind of hate that I've heard, a post I've seen on the internet is that this scene is the only time George ever gets to see Fred as an old man.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
brutal.
yeah. Crumb looks very handsome in that scene, though.
Hmm.
The
You can
Hermione
see
being like
there's
interested,
vibes.
concerned. Yeah, you're so dramatic, Dumbledore. Calm down.
Harry's so excited, like this scene's not going to ruin his life.
Yeah, he's watching it like he's such a bystander. He's like, this can be
Yeah.
so fun. I hope someone I like
Some of
wins.
my favorite parts of Goblet Player were he's just like I would give anything just to like be a participant, just to be bystander, just to watch. And I'm like, Harry, that's
Yeah,
not your life. That's never going to be your life.
poor Harry. I'd be so annoyed if I was every other student at Durmstrang. I'm like, he's already a famous Quidditch star.
Yeah,
He gets everything.
it's interesting because here they have everyone excited for others, but I remember in the books they said that all of the other students were disappointed. Like when Fleur got picked, all like her classmates were upset. Here they're cheering for her.
Yeah, I think it's fair that I think they should have a mix of people being excited who didn't want it or who really think she'll do well versus people who wanted it. That's more believable to me.
Look at him. Even Harry's happy for him.
Even Harry.
Don't know if I'll keep this in, but I feel like Robert Pattinson and Daniel Radcliffe has some kind of like weird chemistry.
Absolutely. They
I feel
do.
like Harry gives off bisexual vibes in this movie.
I feel like Robert read the description of Cedric and
Yeah.
like he's like, all the girls love me, so I have to have like a little crooked smile. And he
Yeah.
kept accidentally wooing Daniel Radcliffe, just like in an attempt to give off the Cedric energy that everyone's into him. He
Yeah.
accidentally made everyone into him.
It's
Daniel
like you
makes
see
hard
it in
eyes
all
at
their
him more than
scenes.
Cho.
Harry has like I know that Harry has a crush on Cho and they make that they do have chemistry there, but I just feel like maybe it's Daniel Radcliffe too, but I just feel like there's some chemistry there that's like I don't think it was intentional,
Yeah, I agree.
but it is fun. Harry's like, please don't look at me.
I love that from Hagrid. Nope.
Mhm.
Nope.
And the scene of Ron, the jealousy. See, Rupert Grint has really, I think, good facial expressions when he does acting, and that's why I like.
Yeah.
I get so upset about like just like the content they give him. They just don't let him to like fully,
Yeah.
utilize
They wanted
his
him
full
to
range.
just hold the role of comic relief so often that they didn't want people to forget he was the comic relief. So they took away so many of the good, pure emotional scenes that Ron had in the books and just took them away. And it's so
Yeah,
unfair because
yeah.
Rupert
Ron's
could
such a
absolutely act
yeah.
them.
Ron's such a layered character, and they just didn't give him the layers in the
Hmm.
movies, which is a shame. And I think it's really apparent in films like this, where Ron has really emotional moments like this in Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows, where he has like these really pivotal moments that could be such like dramatic, really
Hmm.
emotional moments, and they just throw in the comedy because it's Ron.
I love the way that Harry passes by each of the professors. Like, I feel bad for Snape, who's like done a lot to keep Harry from dying and thinks Harry's
Hmm.
been a little shit and chose this. M Minerva being concerned, but like warm and trying to support him with a hand on the
Yeah.
shoulder.
And here we have the pivotal meme. Imagine Buck Dumbledore just trying to look like he's gonna like throat punch Harry. Did you put your name in the Goblet of
Yeah.
Fire?
It's such an example of an actor who didn't understand how important a moment was in the book. Like, it says a lot about Dumbledore's character to be angry and loud in this moment rather than quiet and restrained.
I just feel it's like it's the way he understands the character because you when you look at Richard Harris, like obviously he only had two books as Dumbledore, but he had that very quiet, like
Hmm.
calm to him where
He
Dumbledore
seemed
was
more
only
powerful because
yes.
he didn't have to be louder to be heard. He didn't
Yes.
have to like have bigger gestures to be seen. He had already earned the attention, and so he never
Hmm.
pushed things. And it just felt so much more in line with who the character of Dumbledore is supposed to be.
The idea is Dumbledore's someone who's very much in control, and he only really, when he's like notably angry, it's when it's like either like someone questions his control or it's like done something to him that he feels as a slight. And so Harry doesn't often see Dumbledore angry, but when he is angry, it's like a big deal. But I feel like Richard Gambon just plays him kind of like, I don't know, very dramatic, which Dumbledore
Michael
is.
Gambon.
Yeah, Michael Gambon, sorry. He plays him as like very dramatic, which Dumbledore is, but I feel like it kind of takes away just like that control Dumbledore has.
Yeah, he's just an old guy who's mad now. He's not
Yeah.
the most powerful wizard alive besides the Dark Lord that's mad. It's different.
I like that they included this part that we have Minerva being like, "Don't let this happen," because we don't get a lot of the professors, I think, in this movie, just because there's not really classes and stuff with the tournament, and so it's nice having like Snape and Minerva in this moments being like, "What's the plan here? Why are we doing this?"
Feels like sometimes Snape and Minerva are the only adults in this entire film.
Yeah.
Like Snape later too is just actually being a responsible teacher at multiple instances, and it's nice.
And here we have, of course, Ron and Harry's fight, which is very, I think, subdued, which it is kind of in the book, where they kind of have a falling out where they're not really arguing. But like they do have an argument where I feel that
Yeah,
this is very much, I don't think it's like a true argument.
yeah,
They play Ron as more salty, where I think Ron is just in the book, he's more being false positive and trying to conceal a bit more.
yeah.
And I feel like this where we obviously kind of see that directly Ron's upset.
They didn't have time for the subtlety. They had to just have the confrontation and move on from it, I think. I
Yeah.
don't hate that because there's like long drawn out, I'm too quiet to tell you why I'm mad. You're mad at me because
Yeah.
I'm being quiet.
Yeah, there's a lot of like subtleties
Yeah,
of the fight I think they couldn't really show
yeah.
or they
This is
didn't
better
want to show.
communication, kind of.
But I remember so yeah, he says piss off. And I remember seeing this in theaters and then everyone's just like, ooh. And I'm like, what does that
Meanwhile,
even mean? Because I'm 10.
yeah.
Get a little bit of Frida
God,
Skeeter
she's a
in this
monster and
movie.
should not be allowed near children.
I mean, they don't, I think, really capture the full awfulness of Rita
Yeah,
Skeeter, which is probably why they don't really bring her back in Order of the Phoenix for that kind of subplot where Harry does his interview, which is a
yeah,
shame because that's a pivotal moment. But like, they don't really class, like, she's just kind of seen as like an awful journalist. And she writes,
yeah.
like, they kind of mention the article a little bit, but not like the full horror
Oh,
that she
or
commits in the book.
yeah. She's very inappropriately touching the heads and
Yeah.
shoulders of the children. Like, she should
Yeah.
not be allowed to be this physically close to
Yeah.
them.
Why are you touching minors? And where's an adult?
Yeah. Also, her outfit is perfect for who she is, though. Like, I think the
Yeah.
costume department did a wonderful job on her. But throwing the young children into a closet with her is
Yeah.
crimey.
Harry's like, I need an adult.
She's not even a creative writer because she doesn't do the writing. She just asks questions, and the quill actually
Yeah.
does all the writing.
Hmm. So unfortunately, we don't get to like actually see Sirius in this movie, but we do get a little Gary Oldman, voiceover.
Yeah. They couldn't afford his face.
Yeah, see, this is just I keep looking at Harry's hair and I'm like, this is so perfect. I'm like, he walks in the room and he's like, Sirius, did you just apparate into the Gryffindor common room? Even though you're like,
And
I want a
Hermione would tell
criminal.
him, "You can't operate inside a
Yeah.
Hogwarts, Harry."
This is kind of the only part of the article we kind of get.
I can't imagine being 14 and someone referring to me as 12 publicly. It'd be the most
Yeah.
embarrassing thing. Such
Especially
an
like
insult.
at that age, you're just like you want to be seen as older and like grown
Yeah.
up. Yeah, they never really clarified like the best way to do the flu fire thing. Like this doesn't look great, but what they do in Order of the Phoenix also doesn't look great. I just don't feel
Yeah.
like they figured out a way to make it look good.
I think sticking the face in the ashes looks dumb, and they should have the
Mhm.
face in the flames, like
Yeah, that's
vertical
what
and
they
not
did.
lying
That's what they
down.
did in Order of the Phoenix, but it was very like transparent and not very clear. And I just feel like they never really established like a clear way to do it properly, which is disappointing. Because all the other like methods and travel and stuff they did, they all look so good, and this is always just a bit weird or
Yeah.
off-putting. I wonder how much they paid Gary Oldman just to like have his face appear like this.
Do we think that's even his face? It doesn't even actually look enough like a human. It could be anyone's face and just Gary
Yeah,
Oldman's voice.
of course, who could it be but Ron?
This scene is so much less frustrating in the film. In the book, you're so angry that Harry doesn't get the
Yeah,
important information before Ron comes down. And
that's what
here
I
it's
was
just
gonna
like, oh,
say.
okay, mildly irritating,
I
you
kind
know?
of wish they had Harry yell at Ron like he does. Like Harry gets really, I think eventually they have a moment where Harry gets really frustrated with Ron. But like at this moment, Harry is so angry because he's so stressed.
Yeah,
Also interesting that they have Harry hanging out with Neville
because he's
instead
mad
of
at Ron.
Hermione. Yeah.
And they're also trying to, because there's no Dobby and Neville's taking Dobby's job, they have to have Neville
Yeah.
showing up
They
to
have to
fill in.
establish Neville. Because I thought Book Hermione would never agree to do this for Ron.
Yeah.
Book
I like
Hermione
that they
would be
adopt
like,
Ginny because
yeah.
they can only travel in a group of three.
Mhm. I think they're also trying to include Jenny in as much as they can where it makes sense.
What is she wearing? Poor Ginny.
Yeah, they got to establish, the characters' personalities
And
through
Ginny's
clothes.
personality is colorblind.
I think the idea is that like they all get their clothes secondhand or they're all like handmade, so they always look a bit patchy or dodgy.
The color combinations going on, you can do better, even with secondhand clothes.
This whole idea is so funny. We're like, so and so told me to tell you tell them to tell you, and that's such like middle school.
Yeah, I
But
don't even know if that's
also,
middle school. That's like fourth grade.
yeah, but also Hermione would never do that. Like Book Hermione, she'd be like to Ron, like grow up, do it
Grow up.
yourself.
Yeah.
So I love that they include this where Hagrid's just going on a date and casually just, bringing Harry along to his date.
And wearing cologne, just casually in the forest
Yeah,
again. Like, it's not like it's
yeah.
forbidden and full of spiders. Chill.
At least this is when like Hagrid actually remembers Harry because in the book I think he just kind of leaves him. He just kind of forgets he's there.
He gets flustered by the lady.
This is some great humor right here. We're kind of seeing Hagrid like totally befuddled, and then Daniel Radcliffe's like, "Blah, gross, Hagrid, what do you mean
Yeah.
like this? Feelings, romance, gross." Yeah, it's too bad Charlie's not here for this because this would
Yeah.
have been a great scene to kind of just have a little cameo.
They could have just had a redhead there. Like, it wasn't hard.
Mhm.
You don't even have to see his hair or anything but his hair, really. Just,
So I read that the Horntail was a mix of animatronic and CGI. So I
oh,
like that they were still keeping the idea of using practical effects with the computer generated. So it's kind of like the Phoenix that they had in Chamber of Secrets, where it was partially animatronic.
yeah.
Because when they moved to completely computer generalized and like around like Deathly Hallows, it kind of takes you out because it looks computer
Yeah.
generated and like it doesn't feel like it actually exists there.
Yep.
Like I love the little nod to Potter sync badges because that was like part of the book. So that was kind of interesting.
hmm
Harry's not bullied as much, I think, as he was in the book.
Again, I think there's just not enough time.
But there's they're doing little things, I think, to establish things that did happen. They don't focus on it as much as they would if they had time.
Yeah. I like that Cedric's nice, but he still laughs at the joke because that's
Yeah.
very like teenage boy trying to fit in with his
Yeah.
friends.
And he's very taken back by Harry being honest with him. Harry's like, whatever. This is where Harry kind of gets angry. He's like, I'm gonna have to face a dragon, and you suck because you didn't tell me. I do feel like book Harry gets, I think, a lot more angry with Ron,
Yeah.
but maybe they don't want to see Harry actually angry because I don't know if it looks bad or whatever for his character.
I like that they put Draco in a tree. That's
Yeah,
fun.
he's so dramatic.
Mhm.
I like that. I'm so glad they kept this in because it's just like they didn't have to for the overall plot of the movie. It's just a
Yeah, I
fun
agree.
thing, and it's just so deserved for Malfoy.
Minerva's handles it perfectly.
Yeah.
Technically, it's a ferret.
And I love the my father will hear about this.
He's pouting though. It's so
Yeah.
funny. The big cartoonish pout. He's like,
Yeah, this like it just feels such like moody. You know, it's fake moody.
I know.
The humor like that, like just kind of really kind of random whimsy stuff where it still feels connected to the first three movies, where it's still magic and childhood and very
Yep.
nostalgic and fun, where we're still kind of competing with these very dark things that are happening.
Yeah.
Because we don't get it as much in, especially in Order of the Phoenix. It's very dark film.
Yep.
Harry's generally very angry and sad. Oh, I just thought that maybe they don't want Harry to be super angry in this film is because he's obviously very angry in Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
I like that in the book, Harry said, like, I have none. When he's like, what are your strengths? He's like, I don't have any.
Not dying.
I hear the twins are kind of hearing the humor here.
It's a subtle hint to the
Yeah.
betting that we didn't
Yeah.
get covered at the Quidditch World Cup.
Yeah. That's a nice little cameo. Despite them not going back to the school rooms, I do like the kind of added these like little like competition like outfits. I think
Their
it
gym
really,
fits.
yeah.
Who brought them these? Do you think every morning they woke up and there was like a new like competition fit on their like the bathing suit fit,
Also, this Harry and
sweatsuits?
Hermione moment, I know that this movie was written by Steve Kloves because he does stuff like this. He loves Hermione. He likes the idea of Harry and Hermione and like does stuff like this. And it's just like book Hermione and Harry would never.
No, this woman is disgusting and should not be allowed in the tent.
Like one of Crumb's lines.
He does a good job of staring her down, though. Good job, Vicky.
I find it so annoying that they put all these weird Harry Hermione scenes in it because it kind of confuses the audiences, I think, as a kid, because they don't have that in the book. And obviously, Harry and Hermione are very obviously friends, but I think it's because Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson have really good chemistry,
Hmm.
regardless of what they're playing. They have really good chemistry, but I feel like it confuses it because they put all these kind of like romantic tinged moments in, and then audiences
Yeah.
are confused, like, what, who's she supposed to be with?
Yeah. And I don't think it's romantic at all when I see it. And I think
Yeah.
the actors knew it wasn't romantic, but definitely younger kids are going to say, oh, they're hugging. They must have a crush.
I think they don't play the like overtly romantic, except for maybe that weird Deathly Hallows dance scene. But like the way it's framed compared to their relationships with other people. Filch ruining stuff again.
He's got to have a good time once in a while. He used to be miserable most of his life. He deserves a break.
That transition where they kind of like show Harry waiting, and that's like the worst part.
Yeah. I would have to pee 7 times before I went out there. Like,
Now it's time for Harry.
what if he just hid?
And just ran away. So interesting enough, like this movie's already kind of like, strapped for time with all they need to cover, but they decide to like make this like a real true action scene with the
Yeah.
dragon
It's
breaking
the longest
away.
scene in the entire film.
Yeah,
It's
we
just,
might have to fast forward a bit because it just goes on for so long. And like, I get it. It's fun. It's cool. I think Danny Radcliffe did most of these stunts himself, which he was like excited
yeah.
about.
But if we cut this in half, we could have had Quidditch. By making Beauxbatons all female and Durmstrang all male, it leads me to wonder, where do the boys in France go to school and where do the girls go from Eastern Europe? Like,
Hmm.
do they just not get to go to magic school? Because we now know where all the magic schools are, according to the author. So, like,
Yeah.
where are those girls going? Where are those boys going? I have questions. I have concerns. And he did this with one spell, and it was Accio.
Yeah, Akio. And he did all this. It's a fun sequence. It just feels like it does drag everything out. And just for what they say that being short on time to keep everything in, I think
Yeah.
some of the time to this could have been dedicated to other tasks
Yeah. I think
or
someone
even
just got
more
this in their
like,
head, like the
yeah.
visual of Harry on the dragon all the way around
Yeah.
Hogwarts.
It is
And
fun.
but it didn't need to be that long.
Yeah, it's just it's longer than I think I remember it being, but it's just very
Yeah.
long. And I just
Just
feel
keeps
like some of the
going.
otit tasks I think could have used a bit more time. Like it would have been fun to be in like the second task a bit
They
longer
could have
or even
had
the
the
third
maze
task.
include the
Yeah.
Sphinx.
You and the Sphinx.
The fact that the first task, again, is fly around on broom and get gold thing, and the one thing he's
Hmm.
good at is being a seeker in Quidditch is
Yeah.
hilarious. Somebody
They
tailor
really,
made that task.
yeah, did it for him.
Use a leg or an arm, maybe, but
Yeah. Harry's feeling himself.
yeah. This is Severus Snape's worst nightmare, an egotistical Harry holding
Yeah.
gold on a throne of people.
But Harry would never. The twins have such good like lines
The
and like
emotional intelligence
moments.
of the twins. Poor Harry.
Everyone's like, I had a thing in this. You kind of blend into your background a bit with the darkness, so it looks like
I'm
you're having
sorry.
like, no, it's funny. It looks like you're having like a cocktail or something in
I
like
know I'm
your
eating a
dark,
bowl of chips.
spooky library. Well, when you're leaning back, it looks like a cup, so it's just like it looks like such a vibe.
I should adjust this so I don't look so dark, I guess. I can't believe they put them in the same house. How
Yeah, kind of
dehumanizing to
annoying.
twins.
Yeah, I know.
Like Fred and George are already in the same house. Can twins be their own person?
Yeah.
So rude.
And they kind of have them like not have their own personalities either.
Apparently, the set of like bracelets they wear to the ball is a very particular thing culturally, and the fact that they
Yeah.
split one pair is very incorrect.
I remember the costume designer for this said that they had it pretty plain before, just kind of an ugly color, but they because they were worried about like because the kids were still teens at this point, so they didn't want
Yeah.
to put them in something like really terrible and have them be self-conscious. But when they knew that Rupert was able to kind of take it and be like really funny, they're like, okay,
Hmm.
he can handle it being more goofy. They made it like really goofy looking. This is such the most quintessential teen experience.
Yeah.
I love that they really like hammered in about the Yule Ball and kind of like really emphasized just like the coming of the age of it
Yeah.
all.
It's Wizard Prom, and they all know that people love a prom scene in a film. So,
And I like how they should actually like show them teaching them how to dance because it's such like a fun thing. Like Hogwarts kind of expected them to know how to dance, and maybe that's just something wizards know how to
hmm.
dance. I don't know, is that a thing they
No,
always do? Because
no,
most kids wouldn't know how to like, properly ballroom dance.
no, certainly. If anything, it would maybe they take just the champions aside because they have to
Yeah.
like do a special dance and everyone else can just dance like teenagers.
Yeah. Like, they
I
kind of
what
just
I
kind of
do
expect a
love,
Harry to know how to dance.
mhm. What I love about this is
Yeah.
that she's teaching the Gryffindors all how to dance, which means
Yeah.
as Slytherins, we would have Snape teaching us how to dance. And I am
Man,
so on board.
of course he would be.
I am available. I am a bumbling band of baboons. We could say that 5 times fast. Bumbling
I
band of baboons,
couldn't.
bumbling band of baboons, 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 bumbling band of baboons.
Oh my gosh.
Keep that in.
I love this so much.
She's so good here. He's so funny here.
I feel like they're like not even acting at this point because the way that Harry and the twins are like razzing him, I feel like that's just like them.
Who they are.
Yeah. Because like they're all friends at this point. They've like basically grown up together. So I feel like that's just
Yeah.
them teasing each other. Like this is just what happens.
I thought Happy Mrs. Norris looked in the background there.
Neville's the one. He's not ashamed. They're romantic at heart.
He's a Gryffindor. This is
Hmm.
Neville's Gryffindor moment. This is the true Gryffindor moment. Nothing about
Yeah.
swords. He steps up and he's like, I ain't afraid of no girls.
He has his shoes.
What a cutie pie.
He's taking it seriously.
Which I appreciate. They have a cut scene here where a group of like randomly, unbelievably handsome Bulgarian
Hmm.
men from Durmstrang ask a local Ravenclaw girl to the dance,
Hmm.
and Harry and Ron just watch in awe, like, how did he do
You
it?
can do that? Got a little bit of Hagrid's backstory here, which is actually kind of nice. It's kind
I
of
don't know if
weird.
this feels necessary, and her weird
Yeah.
finger licking is also pretty weird. I don't know. It's not for me. I think I would have taken
Hmm.
this out and put something else in.
It's just kind of adding to like the romance. They're kind of doing a romance montage of showing
Yeah.
everyone kind of like, coupling up in a way.
Poor Victor. Feel kind of
Yeah,
bad for him.
his mob.
I think chasing him around is going to help. I love that. I mean, I know it's
Hmm.
in the books, it's like Ginny finds out that Harry would have asked her if she hadn't, like, she was an
Yeah.
option for him, and then she's sad about it. But I love that Neville manned up and found someone he likes and asked
Hmm.
them.
Neville was proactive. They're all too
Yeah.
scared.
Yeah. Neville's very brave in a way that they
Hmm.
aren't yet.
I love how they kind of like did a version of Fred asking Angelina because obviously in the book it's in the common room and he kind of just yells it out to her. But
Yeah,
this is still kind of like it has the same vibe where he's just kind of like
absolutely.
very casual, being like, "Hey, you and me, let's go." She's like, "Yeah, okay."
Hmm.
Like it's Harry just because.
I mean, he knows.
I really don't like how they characterize Ron because I feel like they don't really touch on how insecure he is. So it just makes him seem like he's just being really mean.
Yeah, he just thinks Hermione is like not
And no
remotely an
one's gonna
option for
ask
anyone.
her. He just kind of assumes, like in the book, he just kind of assumed that she would just go with one of them. But like,
Hmm.
there's a lot of insecurity, I think, around it.
Yeah,
And here's Harry's attempt.
yeah. Deeply embarrassing for everyone involved.
I feel like
It's
it was
beautiful in
more,
winter. I love
yes.
seeing Hogwarts in the winter. It's a Christmas movie.
You say that for every movie.
The Harry Potter movies are Christmas movies.
I feel like only the first two are Christmas movies. The first two really emphasize Christmas. I feel like this is just a movie.
I feel like the fifth is kind of sad around Christmas.
That's true.
And I don't know if I specifically remember Christmas in the sixth, but in one of the seventh, they do like a sad Christmas Eve
Oh,
in
yeah.
Harry's hometown. And that's very Christmassy in a sad way.
I feel like in the book, it's more savage, Harry's experience having to talk to Cho because he has to ask her. First, he has to talk to her in front of her friends, which I think is such
Hmm.
a universal teen experience where you're like, I want to talk to, can I talk to you privately? And then everyone kind of knows. Where here is just kind of
Hmm.
like he has the opportunity and he's just kind of nervous and stuff. And obviously she has to be like, well, sorry, someone already asked me. And it was Cedric Diggory and he's hot. So, can't say no.
Furthermore, everyone at Hogwarts is cheering for him.
And Harry's like, oh man, I get it. Cedric's hot.
He's like, damn, I want to go to Ced with Cedric.
I want Ron's so traumatized. Like how Jenny has all her friends come help Ron, and she's actually so nice to him. She just Ron screaming, "Go out to the ball with me!"
And then ran away.
Harry's like, "Wait a minute, I have an idea." So now we're moving into the Yule Ball scenes. These are probably some of my favorite scenes. It feels so quintessential teen dance, wizard
Yeah, it's
prom, as you're
very,
calling
it's
it.
classic coming of age, classic first
I
time getting
do
dolled up.
wish, first of all, that because they have the men wear wizard robes, I feel like everyone should just be wearing robes. I feel like it would have been a really cool opportunity to really experiment with wizard style and like that kind of like witchy kind of aesthetic. But they just go basic with just like making the wizard robes look more like tuxedos and the girls wear dresses just to kind of really throw that
Yeah,
it's a
I have
dance,
a
which
lot
I
of
get.
points about the Yule Ball. Sorry, this is Shay's fashion corner.
Yeah.
So my first thought is absolutely that they take away a lot of the whimsy by just putting girls in dresses
Hmm.
as opposed to dress robes. And they also take away a lot of the stylistic intrigue and also whimsy of the boys by just
Yeah.
putting them, except for Ron, basically, in these like black
Yeah.
tuxedos. It's so lazy. It's uninteresting. Harry's supposed to be in like bottle green. And
Hmm.
I think that's beautiful. It would bring out his eyes, and they just don't do that. And I
Yeah.
think that's super, super duper frustrating for me. I feel like Durmstrang boys are the only ones that have any sort of attitude to their outfits because they've got the red and the fur. And I feel like that's very visually interesting. This is just,
Yeah, the Patel twins, like they had them wearing traditional like saris, which I feel
which
like
are
they went
normally
traditional. Yeah,
beautiful.
and I feel like they were gonna
Saris are
go traditional.
beautiful.
They should have, yeah, they should just go all out.
They did
But they're
not
just
give
very
them nice
plain.
ones. The colors don't look good together. They
Hmm.
match each other off color. It just
Yeah.
isn't, it's not
Yeah, I feel
good.
like they just should have made them look like if they were gonna go traditional route, they should have gone all out, but they went very just like basic. They're like, oh, like let's just have them in saris. It's traditional, but like they don't look good. Like same with Cho's and like kind of like a traditional like Asian attire, but like I feel like they could have like emphasized it more. So
They could have done
obviously,
better rather than just being like,
yeah.
oh, their style is just their ethnicity, basically.
So they have
It's
this big
lazy.
Harani's also like her grand entrance, which Emma Watson apparently hated filming, because she had to do it a bunch of times. And also it's a
Hmm.
lot of pressure. Like this is like a lot riding on her as this is Hermione's
Hmm.
big transformation. Although I do say that we talked about this when we read this chapter, that I feel like this moment doesn't really, I think, hit as much weight as it does in the book because Emma
Absolutely.
Watson's just naturally beautiful, and as much as they try to make her look more frumpy, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And
So I
so,
think I have a lot to say
yeah.
about the dress.
Okay, let's talk about the
So let's
dress.
discuss this. Book Hermione wears blue dress robes.
Yes, yes,
And I think dress robes, being the fancy attire for all wizards, regardless of gender,
yeah,
feels better.
yeah,
And I also kind of think that it felt like the classic Cinderella moment when it was blue. And I think that's what
yeah,
it's trying to be. And by making it not blue, it kind of takes away some of that classic
yeah.
Cinderella feel. And I want that and I crave that.
Hmm.
And I feel like they made it pink because that's more of a traditionally girly color. And it's the moment where
Yeah,
we see Hermione can be a girly girl and be feminine.
yeah.
But you don't have to be pink to be feminine. And I think that's kind of lazy.
Well, like we were talking about, like the 2000s were very gendered, and I feel like they're like Hermione. This is the era of like the strong female character that generally rejects femininity, but they
Hmm.
can still be hot. So it's kind of showing that like Hermione's like really smart, and she's not like a normal girl. She's a strong girl, but also she
Hmm.
looks great pink.
See, I see Minerva is wearing dress robes.
Hmm.
You can see the clothes, like it's open in the front like a proper robe, but it has all the
Yeah,
beauty of a dress and it has some color. For me,
yeah,
the
yeah,
number
yeah.
one best dressed at the Yule Ball is Minerva McGonagall. She's wearing dress robes per the
Hmm.
book, proper. She's got a color to them, but the color's still sort of dark, like her usual dark
Yeah,
academia sort of style. But it's not her usual color. It's a little different tone of green. It's perfect. 10 out of 10. And I'm going
yeah.
to think that the second best dressed is probably the Durmstrang boys. I think they're some of the only boys that brought anything of interest into this ball, you know?
Yeah, I get they wanted to make it a ball, but I just feel like because it's a fantasy movie, they could have done so much more.
Absolutely.
I just it was kind of like they went kind of tame, and maybe I don't know, maybe they were planning to sell like Hermione's dress or something, and they wanted it for
Yeah, I mean,
this.
briefly for a while, I wanted my prom dress to be her dress, but in the proper periwinkle blue.
Can we talk about the Weird Sisters and everything? I found out that there is apparently a lawsuit from a Canadian band called the Weird Sisters. It was just spelt differently. And so they had this whole thing where they're like, you can't call them the Weird Sisters because that's our band name and we're trademarked. And so it almost like didn't like air, I guess, in Canada, but I guess like the movie just decided to like not mention them by name
Yeah,
or whatever, which is so funny. I didn't know
they
that.
actually made this band up from members of real life bands, including
That's
two
cool.
members of Radiohead, which is so funny to me.
That's
They
so
just like
cool.
got real band guys to throw together in the band. That being said, the actual song is so bad. Like
It
I
feels like
listened to the lyrics
AI
because
generated, but before AI.
there's an extended version
Oh my
that
God, is there?
they filmed the entire song basically, and it is so bad. They have lyrics like spin around like a crazy elf, put your hands in the air like an ogre who just don't care. Like
Hmm.
the film score is so good, but the lyric choice is so bad. And they also have a remove scene from Hogwarts during
Yeah.
the entrance of the other schools where they sing the school song. And those lyrics are also so cringy. After Bo Batten is graceful and Durmstrang is intimidating,
Yeah.
Hogwarts sings this awful song that's really cheesy about knobby knees and being bald. And I am embarrassed. The guest schools are embarrassed. There's a scene of Draco looking incredibly embarrassed, and that's
I
the only
mean,
time he's
get
ever
it.
been correct. Like, it's just gross.
So we have like Ron acting kind of like how he acts in the book, like he's jealous, but I feel like we don't get that he's jealous because they don't really give us the context clues. With Ron, it just kind of comes off that he's just kind of mad that she came with someone and she looks nice.
Also,
And I
on
feel
my
like, sorry, go
dressing
ahead.
list.
Hmm.
So Minerva's best dressed, Durmstrang boys are
Obviously.
second best dressed. Worst dressed, unquestionably, Ginny Weasley. They have her in like teal green and powder pink.
Hmm.
It's a horrendous color combination, even if you exclude the fact that she's a redhead. It's so bad.
Ron and Hermione have like their big fight in the Great Hall, which seems off to me because I feel like it made more sense having it in a common room where they're by themselves and it's just like
Private.
that charged energy that Harry walks in on. But I think
Yeah.
having it here is like they don't really yell. Like they are like yelling at each other. Like Ron and Hermione are both dealing with these very confusing feelings that they can't quite name yet because they're so young. And I think having that fight kind of shows their immaturity and like where their emotions are at. Where here it's just kind of just like, I don't know. Hermione's just upset.
How do you actually feel about the Hermione pink dress?
I get what they were going for. I just don't think that like the weight's there. Like I don't feel like this is her big moment. Like you know all those 2000s movies where
Yeah.
like they have the makeover and it's just like this big moment. Like it doesn't really
hmm
feel like that because it just feels like Hermione, but she's just dressed up a bit more.
Yeah. I love the butterfly sleeves on the dress. I think that's really nice. I think the way they did the like loose taffeta for the frills and
Mm-hmm.
then the silk for the bodice somehow makes it look costumey to me. Like just the way they attach the two materials, I feel like not the best costume choice. So they have a deleted scene, and most of the ones I've mentioned earlier, it makes sense that they cut out the bad singing of the Hogwarts song, the
Hmm.
band singing at the ball. But they have a scene during the Yule Ball where Snape and Karkaroff are discussing the Dark Mark, and Harry's sort of
Yeah.
eavesdropping, and Snape's going around opening up the carriages and like kicking out students who are like making out in there and
Yeah.
stuff. And that's such an important scene because Snape is being the responsible adult and like actually keeping an eye on the students as a responsible adult should, which I
Hmm.
appreciate. And also, it actually lets the Karkaroff actor do something.
Yeah,
And
he
like
just
he's
kind of looks
acting against
shady.
Alan Rickman, so it's not
Yeah.
like he's stealing the
Yeah.
show. But it because we don't have Ludo Bagman as a red herring, it's important that we get a little bit more out of Karkaroff in order to make him a more valid red herring.
Hmm.
And that scene with Snape, I think, really does that. So it's a great scene for
Yeah.
Snape. It's a beautiful scene of Alan Rickman in the snow. Gorgeous. Put him in a snow globe. But it's also just,
Yeah.
I think, important if you're going to take out Ludo Bagman to leave in that scene, even if they cut it a little bit shorter than it was, just to give us that valid belief that, okay, Karkaroff has been up to no good. Something's up with him. A little bit more suspicion towards him, just to keep some red herrings in the
Yeah,
game.
Karkaroff's just kind of like lurking in the background and he kind of like gives off suspicious vibes, but we don't really know much about him as much as we do in the book.
Yeah, nowhere
But
near
yeah, the
enough.
ball, obviously, beautifully shot scene. It was nice seeing everyone all dressed up and everything, but we just I think in general that like the costumes could have been better. I really wish they had dived more into the Ron and Hermione kind of like conflict, as I feel like they don't really give the respect to Ron and Hermione as a couple. Like we don't really, I think, show how much Ron really likes Hermione. It's very like until it's like needed. I feel
Hmm.
like for the main couples, they kind of waited until Half-Blood Prince and they're like, oh shit, they're supposed to like
Yeah.
each other. And then they have to kind of build on that.
Yeah.
And
I
they never
agree.
give Rupert enough time to do emotional stuff, which is a shame.
They really are just so afraid of him not being obviously the funny one that they take away
Mhm.
all the scenes that
They
have a lot
really
of
put
emotional weight.
the trio into kind of like archetypes where like
Yeah.
Harry is supposed to be a certain way, Hermione's this way, and Ron's this way, and they don't want them to
Yeah.
kind of cross
The
over.
hero, the brain, and the comic relief. That's just what they want them to be. And
Well, if you
anytime
look,
Ron is
yeah.
supposed to be smart, they take it away because that's just what they're doing.
This
And it's
second
sad.
dream is so much better because it doesn't have that stupid fucking owl. But again, we're just showing Barty Crouch Jr. Like we know he's evil, but whatever.
I love that for Neville. And it also means like Ginny was having fun too.
Yeah.
Like they were just there as friends, but they were both having a good
Yeah.
time. Ginny was happy to get to go. Neville's probably very
Hmm.
sweet.
Obviously a great dancer because he's been practicing.
Yeah, I bet she was impressed. And I bet she saw Harry dancing and was like, oh, I'm kind of happy Harry didn't ask me.
I think Danny Radcliffe said that they didn't really focus on his feet because he was stumbling a lot. But I mean, that's all like you don't
In
expect like
canon.
actors to know that. Yeah, I think it was also canon that Harry's not a good dancer.
So it's fine. He's a physical being.
He's just actually that's really annoying and I hate it.
Well, she has to study and he wants to be around her. That's the compromise. Perfect timing.
Like, look at this like tension they have. That is
I
like
know. It's
slightly
so
like charged.
no wonder people think Harry and Hermione should have been together. They directed some of the films as if they were going to end up together and did less of that with the actual two characters that end up together. Like,
I was talking about Cedric and Harry.
oh, they have
But
chemistry
yeah,
too.
but yeah, I that's what I'm saying about like Emma Watson and Daniel just have natural chemistry, but the way they write things and the way they like put things together just makes it seem that there's more there that there's not really
Mhm.
supposed to be. And I feel like by this point it was well established like who the kind of like the end game was going to be. I'm assuming the author told them this was kind of where she was heading.
Yeah.
And anyway, this was a woo
I love that
scene in
Cedric
the
tells him
theater.
it's
Yeah,
especially flirty when Cedric tells
yeah,
him to take a bath.
yeah. And Harry's
Yeah.
like,
Okay,
"Bath."
see you there.
This is probably one of the most uncomfortable scenes when Moaning Myrtle comes in.
Absolutely. For a lot of reasons, but especially when you realize that the actress was a fully grown woman. Daniel's like an actual child.
I think he was probably 17. I think they were all still like minors, I think, when they were filming this.
17 is child, yeah.
And it's just weird because like when Myrtle was kind of creepy in the book, but like it makes it more like I guess more sexually motivated, which makes it kind of icky. 'Cause I think in the book she's just more kind of like boundary stopping and like vaguely kind of uncomfortable, but she doesn't
Yeah, here
really
she's
censor it.
yeah,
And this
she's
just
being
has
real
like
gross
a
here.
yeah, this just feels a bit too much.
Yeah.
Like it
The
feels
way she
overly
says
flirty
it,
and
yeah. That is an incredible bathtub, though. It's a swimming pool full of bubbles. It must have
yeah,
taken 7 years to film that
yeah,
thing up. Like,
they really got the whole swimming pool style bathtub like fully.
yeah.
Would have loved that as a kid.
Again, though, the amount of time it would take to fill it up in real life
Yeah,
is
could not be worth it. I'm too impatient.
he
Yeah,
leaves
he
his
goes
glasses
under the
on
water. Yeah, I was
and
gonna say he goes
sticks
under
his
the
head under the
water
freaking water.
with his glasses on. How you're not even gonna be able to see. Yeah, this is
Just gross.
just so uncomfortable. Like
Yeah.
okay, it's supposed to be humorous. Maybe it was back in the time.
I'm
Maybe.
sure it was as kids, and you don't know the
Yeah,
actress is an adult, and you don't.
really understand the context.
Yeah.
This looks like me studying,
Yeah.
being like just bash it into my brain.
We're a trio. We can't travel in
We
a
do
group of two.
everything. Yeah, you do it everything
If
together.
Harry has to stay here, can we go get Ginny? We can't travel as a two.
So obviously they do a good job of kind of bridging the gap between not having Dobby around, but I do wish they kind of focused on the idea about how important Ron is to Harry because I think that was the sweetest moment of this whole thing is that he when he assumes something to be taken, he assumes an object. And then
Yeah.
it's like he has to kind of turns with like the fact that Ron is the thing that he would miss the most, and they don't really focus on Ron being Harry's hostage and like how important he is.
Yeah. Like that's so flattering.
Hmm. Like just Dobby being there, you have to save your Weasley. Like
Hmm.
you're Weasley. Like
Yeah. I just kind of think it's funny that they know Neville is good at herbology and they never think to ask him. I guess they just assume Hermione's always the solution to
yeah.
their problems. So if Hermione doesn't know it, no one will.
So it's like the trio like hive mind where they just do everything themselves and like it's in Order of the Phoenix where they have to kind of expand their group to rescue
Yeah.
Sirius. They don't want to do it. Harry doesn't he only wants Ron and Hermione coming with them because that's their hive mind. That's like their
Yeah.
support system. It's like we can't do anything else with them, but everything would be so much easier if they just like expanded.
Yeah.
invited people into the fold. But
Thank you,
so
Neville.
this kind of explains like what I was envisioning when I read this. But now when I think about it, like you just think that they're just staring at the lake for an
Yep.
hour.
Can't see
Uh,
anything. They have no idea what's
Yeah.
going on under there.
Like, wow, so fun.
I'd like to think they do it like you can see a little like glowing red dot to be Harry underwater, and the dot floats above the water so you have an idea what's going on underneath or something. Some way to see something. Because just sitting there, it's got to be boring as hell.
Mm-hmm. I think they should have cameras like they do in like when they you do diving in the Olympics, so you can actually see them go down, or
Yeah.
synchronized swimming where you actually like see them under the water.
So Daniel Radcliffe wanted to do all of these stunts himself. So
Yeah.
he trained for 6 months to
Oh
be
my
able to
gosh.
film the underwater scenes. That's just to be able to
Oh.
film them, like
Well,
practice
yeah, that's a
diving,
lot of like
breathing.
cardio. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like different techniques
Stamina.
for
Yeah.
breathing and how to act underwater. And then at the
Mhm.
end, in order to film all the underwater scenes, he ended up spending 41 hours and 38 minutes underwater in a 3-week period.
That's crazy. So they
Yeah.
all filmed this in like a giant like underwater tank, like everyone in here, which is crazy to see like how much like, really went into organizing this because they had a
Yeah.
lot of like different elements for this, like obviously special effects wise compared to
Yeah.
the other ones.
And he could
Like
only hold his
every
breath for like
challenge.
basically up to 11 seconds is safe before you
Mhm.
have to breathe. So he had to like
Yeah.
breathe in through the tube. They take the tube
Yeah.
away. He has to act, and then they have to
Mhm.
come back and bring the tube in,
Mhm.
all while having like clean shots, smooth
Yeah.
transitions, and him acting with his
Yeah.
eyes open underwater, which is super
And you think that
obviously
Daniel Radcliffe was
tough.
probably around 17, 18 when he was doing this? Because this is like kind of, I think, they talk about this in the anniversary special about how once they became teenagers, this wasn't just like, like a fun gig as children. Like this is, they're taking it kind of, starting to take it seriously. We're like, this is kind of what I want to do. And so this is kind of like they're transitioning into like, a child actor and to just an actor. And this
Yeah.
is like the kind of the really cool opportunity they had where he was like, I want to do my own stunts because he's old enough now and that's something that he's interested in. And this is kind of where they all kind of are starting to take it a bit seriously. And I think that's also why Emma Watson was considering her future because this is the time where like, you got this role when you were a child and you're like kind of like your early teens now being like, is this what I want to do? Or do I want to do something else? Yeah, apparently they filmed a lot more Fleur scenes, but they just got cut for, I guess, pacing and timing wise, which is kind of a shame because she's just kind of like there and then she's not.
Yeah, I haven't really seen like I've seen a lot of the deleted scenes, but I haven't really seen any deleted Fleur scenes.
They're
So
not
they're not even
released.
out there.
I always say that the WB just needs to like release every single deleted blooper, whatever, anything they ever filmed ever.
36 hours of just the kids working on lines in year one
Honestly.
might not be necessary, but like there's a lot of good stuff that people would really enjoy to
I know
see.
there's probably scenes that they had or just like scenes that were revised line wise that are just
Hmm.
exist somewhere and just be cool to see like how things were done or even just like old scripts or something. But here we have
Do you think
Harry
there's a moment
become
where he wonders whether or not Ron or Hermione is for him, or do you think he
yeah.
immediately knows, oh, Crumb just really digs her that much, I guess?
Yes, they don't really emphasize it. It's kind of odd in the movie because in the book, it's very clear that Ron is for Harry, and that's why he's surprised when he sees Hermione because he's like, "Well, I gotta save her too, because who's gonna save her?"
They maybe should have like put them in some sort of like sweater with the
Mhm.
champion that was
Yeah,
supposed to
or
save them or
labeled it or
something.
something.
Because Harry
And
likes Cho too. He
yeah,
showed up and he's like, all the
yeah,
people I like plus some random blonde child.
yeah.
Weird.
It's so funny when I watched this as a kid that I thought like the actual actors that were the hostages were like the actual actors and not just like like dummies or whatever,
Yeah.
like models. And I'm just like, well, they had to hold their breath for a long time.
They're so stiff though.
Yeah,
You can
they're
definitely
they're
see
so
it.
yeah. You can tell that they're like not it, but like as a kid, you're just like, wow, that must obviously be that person.
Yeah.
Which they kind of had Harry's internal thoughts being like, oh, but this girl's gonna die if I don't rescue her.
I mean, I can see it, him looking around. They show you
Yeah.
his like
Mhm.
perspective.
I like the focus on the clock too. It really sets back like they need you back in an hour.
Yeah. I wish you could also hear the clock ticking under the water. I think that would add to
Yeah.
the tension. I
Yeah.
know you couldn't real life, but I think like cinematically it would have been a good choice.
Victor Sharkhead is so funny.
Oh, Igor's teeth are scarier than Crumb's shark teeth.
Also, Fleur acts like that Gabrielle's gonna die too.
Well, I mean, I think you feel it in the moment. No one explained
Yeah.
to them the context. And now she sees people coming up and she's like, I thought it was just my favorite earrings. And now
Mhm.
I'm finding out it's my frickin' sister. I think everyone in the moment thought it was life or death because Dumbledore is that type.
Yeah, you never know. Dumbledore hasn't really explained anything. Like this adds a little bit of drama. Like, will Harry survive?
Yeah, Grindylows are so cute. I'm such a cephalopod person, but I
Uh,
think they're really cute.
Ron sees this person. He's like, okay, come with me. I'll help you.
Harry's like, "Am I dying?
He's
Is this
always
how I
dying.
die?"
As far as deaths go, drowning is not something I think would be fun.
I can't believe he manages to verbally get the spell underwater.
Yeah.
I would not want them trying to hold me down when I'm like, can you leave me alone for a minute so I can cough up some water? It sounds like she says Fleur never got back Zigrindylows, which made me think,
Yeah.
is her sister's name Zigrindylows? But she says it didn't get past the Grindylows, but she does it in a stupid French accent.
I don't know why she does the French accent unless it feels like unnecessary.
She's trying to make fun of Fleur. Also, because she was born in France, maybe Emma actually has a pretty good French accent, and they're
That's
like,
true.
use it.
I feel like Hermione's more, I guess, prejudiced against Fleur in the book. They don't really bring it up that much in the movies.
Yeah.
Maybe because, Hermione can't have any flaws. But Hermione's kind of like, I guess, misogynistic in a way towards Fleur because she's just kind of like traditionally feminine and Hermione
We're not
thinks that
allowed
she's
to support
different.
hot blonde ladies, apparently.
Yeah. And it's just like a character flaw Hermione has. Obviously, she gets to know her better and she knows that she's competent. But it's just like Hermione can't have any flaws in the movies.
Yeah.
Suspicious. They've only like vaguely introduced Mr. Crouch, and it's just the kind of odd that he has this whole conversation with Harry. This whole scene, I just feel like this is so unnecessary. Like, obviously, they're not going to do Crouch's whole insanity storyline because they're not really focusing on that too much. But like, or they have him do like the tongue flick, and it
Yeah.
makes it so obvious that he has some connection to the bad guy.
Yeah.
And
I
I
do
just
like
feel
the joke
that,
where he
yeah,
asks if he's trying to get Harry to sign up for a summer
yeah,
internship at the ministry, though.
yeah.
I think that's funny. And I think Harry would actually should consider that as an alternative to going home. He should just sign up for
Yeah.
an internship. He just let that go. He didn't think, wait a minute, are there those? Can I do that?
Yeah, but instead of, Barty Crouch going insane and kind of having that weird, and they cut out obviously the whole Victor, Harry, Hermione debacle, which
Yeah.
I think is sad because I think that would have been really funny to see. They just let
Yeah.
Harry stumble across the dead body of Barty Crouch,
Could happen to anyone.
but having it while the Hogwarts school songs in the background. Like I got they're kind of accelerating like the main plot of this is that someone's trying to kill Harry. So like we gotta build onto that. It is nice that they actually kind of include Cornelius Fudge being like, a slimy politician.
Yeah.
Because they do kind of need to bridge that gap from where they don't really have at the end of the film, they don't have Fudge have that confrontation with Dumbledore. So all we
Yeah.
really have is this. And so it is kind of
Yeah.
bridge that gap to why Fudge is being such an asshole in Order of the Phoenix.
Ugh, he's such a schmuck. And Harry's like, just a second. I found a dead guy.
He's like, what the fuck does that mean? I wonder if they have Fawkes there. I don't know if we really were in Dumbledore's office in Prisoner of Azkaban, but we haven't really been in here since Chamber of Secrets with Richard Harris as Dumbledore, so it's definitely like
Yeah.
a bit different, but still cool. And I do like how in the book, Harry is just nosy, and so he goes into the Pensieve by himself
Yeah.
because he's nosy, little shit. And here it's just a total accident.
I think they didn't want to encourage nosiness in
Yeah.
children because parents don't want their kids to be
Well,
nosy.
yeah, I do feel like it's what we said about Harry not being angry when he has the right to be angry. So they want Harry to have like really good traits because he's the hero. So him
Hmm
doing mischievous things just to be mischievous doesn't really fly. They're like, Harry's a good guy, so he obviously wouldn't snoop, even though Harry is definitely Snoopy.
Yep. He's Snoopy. He's the dog from the Peanuts cartoons. The whole time he's been the dog. It's funny that this is what Dumbledore looked like that many years ago, especially if you watch Fantastic Beasts and he's suddenly like
Yeah, that's why everyone was
fresh
like, I
faced,
get having
moisturized.
Jude Law because Jude Law, but it's just like, this is what Dumbledore looked like here, and this is what he looks like here, and he looked old, man.
Did he have a really bad year? Like one bad year
Yeah,
just ruined
that
him.
happened that one year.
He threw out the moisturizer.
I wish instead of having like these cages, they kind of stuck with like the Dementors and like the chains and like the chair, because that's where
Mm,
it kind of connects. That when Harry goes into Order of the Phoenix,
yeah.
it kind of you can recall it from there. But I get that they want it to look kind of like
And they brought him
spooky.
from Azkaban. So he's a
Yeah,
convicted criminal. Harry was an
yeah,
accused criminal. So I feel like it's different. Also, I like that that cage very much is reminiscent of things they had in the Salem witch trials. Like it
true.
gives me the energy of like Scold's Bridle and all those like actual devices of that time, which I think is a nice touch visually.
So I get that they kind of combined all like the court cases together, but this part of Barty Crouch Jr. feels so cheesy for this movie franchise. Like they had some cheesy scenes and stuff, but I feel like they could have done like a cooler reveal. This just feels too goofy.
The outfit is phenomenal, though. What is he
Yeah.
do wearing?
Yeah, they definitely aged him up to make him look, I guess, older and less like a teenager and like just like generic evil.
Yeah.
And the stupid freaking tongue thing.
Yeah. The
I
dramatic
can't.
pause, though. Barty Crouch.
Yeah.
Everyone looks at Crouch Sr.
Yeah, I
Junior.
know. Because you just know David Tennant has such a clear range of what he's able to do. And it's just like they had David Tennant. They could have done so much more.
Yeah, he would have done better given less
Mhm.
directives.
Yeah, and it just kind of just I don't know, it just kind of cheapens the final reveal that we get as Barty Crouch Jr. this whole time. And it's just like, well, yeah, we
Yeah.
know that because he was the one villain we saw at the beginning of the movie. And they throw
And
it,
he's been.
they kind of shoved it down our throats.
Mhm. I mean, we don't know who he is at the beginning. Until that moment, we
Yeah.
don't realize.
Hmm.
But they call it the symbolism behind Dumbledore there. There's a
Yeah.
triangle with a line and a circle in it. It's the Deathly
Yeah.
Hallows symbol.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, and he also confessed pretty much.
Finally get time for a Snape moment for you. Surprisingly, there's not quite a lot of Snape in this movie compared to others. You don't get your Snape fix as much. We gotta establish the Veritaserum. Also, they generally like to have at least one Harry versus Snape, I think, kind of scene in each
Yeah,
movie to establish them being kind of like enemies.
yeah.
So, because they cut out a lot of other stuff, there's just this is the kind of only moment they can have like a confrontation. I know
How
you
does
already
Neville get the gillyweed? Does Neville
they
steal from
never
Snape?
they never established that. Did Neville
Like,
just have it? Did he grow
like
it? Did he
maybe
find
he
it?
has a very special garden upstairs in the common room that no one knows about, hidden
I'm
behind a
sure
book.
that Professor Sprout would let him use her private garden or whatever. She trusts him.
Yeah. I don't think he stole it from Snape, but then Snape
Mhm.
says his is missing. Like he acts like he could tell some was missing. So it makes me think that like,
Oh, maybe they had Moody take it when he takes his Polyjuice potion
yeah,
ingredients
and then
and
give
then
it to
give to
Neville to
Neville to
play
give to
with.
Harry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that they have Amos included so much because I'll talk about Cedric's like, demise later, but I feel like it really elevates having the actor that plays Amos.
I think it's hilarious that Goyle or Crab, I don't know, is cheering for Crumb. It says Crumb on his head. He's not even cheering for his own school
He's like, I'd rather die than cheer for a Hufflepuff.
or a Gryffindor.
I also like how kind of like exciting this is, where they have the whole school out, and it feels very much like
Yeah.
a school kind of like playoff game or
Yeah.
something.
Since Fleur has her sister there for support and
Mhm.
Crumb has his teacher and obviously Cedric
Mhm.
has his
Yeah,
dad.
Dad. Yeah,
It's sad that Mrs. Weasley isn't there.
yeah. They didn't bring them in like Mrs. Weasley or Bill. I get for time wise, it must has been too chaotic to logistic wise do it, but yeah, I just feel like Harry's very alone.
Yeah. Bare minimum, give him Minerva McGonagall as his head of house.
Yeah,
Like, give him something. Why is he always so lonely?
before you go to your deaths. And no sphinxes.
Jerks.
I do feel like they could have spent more time like doing like the actual obstacles in the maze, but I get like the whole point of this is to kind of like build up to Voldemort. So I get why they don't spend too much time on it.
I just like how they touched on all the different types of skill sets and like
Yeah,
knowledge on the different tasks. By taking away the Sphinx, it kind of takes away analytical
yeah,
thinking and like as a thing of value. This is sad.
yeah. Amos really plays on like the proud kind of teary father a
Yeah.
lot, and it's actually like I think it adds to devastation later on.
Dumbledore looking hella sus about
Some moody
what
looking
Moody's up
sus.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dumbledore looking suspiciously at Moody.
But I just can't get over just like kind of like just like how they always do these great panning shots just to show kind of just like how crazy all these tasks are and just like the size and the scope of everything.
And again, really hard for the audience to watch, like the
Mhm.
underwater one.
Yeah, who knows what the stands are looking at? It
I mean, maybe they can see directly into the maze. We don't know the,
needs to be like the Hunger Games where they have like cameras watching so people can watch on like a
or
screen
again, like
somewhere.
just like a magic dot that floats above
Yeah.
you in the sky with your color, and then the foes are like a magic X, so you can see when Harry's
Mhm.
approaching a foe or when Victor's approaching a foe, and you're like, oh, something's happening, and then you see magic sparks or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
This ain't it though. It's good face acting by Robert
Yeah.
there.
And they definitely make the maze feel very spooky. Like I feel like I really didn't get spooky vibes in the book until it got really intense near the end of the chapter
Hmm.
because the maze didn't change like in the book like it does in the film. So they have that to kind
Yeah.
of add to like the heightened kind of danger and
Yeah.
suspense of it all.
I'm always in the darkness. I
Because
apologize for
obviously,
anyone watching.
audience who haven't read the book obviously don't know what's going to happen next. So this seems like it's like going to be like the finale of like the movie. So it's
Yeah.
all very intense.
I appreciate that they let her hair look messy. Sometimes
Hmm.
they try and keep people looking pretty unnecessarily during
Yeah,
scenes, and I like that they let her look like she's really
it's
sweaty
very.
and disheveled.
And Harry has this like kind of saving people moment,
Classic Harry.
and now we're all confused, being like, why is Crumb being bad?
But his
I
eyes are
thought he was a
obviously
good
kind of
guy.
cloudy, so we
Yeah.
know that's not the thing.
And Harry's like, I will save.
Which is dumb because it's like he's under
Yeah.
the Imperious curse, right?
Hmm.
Does everyone under the Imperious curse have cloudy eyes? Because then you would always know who's under the Imperious curse and
No,
it would
I
be
feel
pretty
like they
obvious.
probably did that movie-wise just so you could tell, because Harry says to Cedric like later on that he's bewitched. And so how does Harry know that? So I think they had to kind of had to make him look
Yeah.
different because I think it's hard for them to be like this person's under
Yeah.
control.
It
But
just
how would
doesn't work
audiences know that?
canonically for it to be
Yeah.
something so obvious with
Yeah.
the idea of how
Yeah, I feel
that
like
spell works.
they dumb a lot of things down in this movie, like with Barty Crouch Jr., just because it's supposed to still technically be a children's movie. And so I feel like they try to make it things pretty obvious, but I feel like some things don't
They
need
could
to be
have
super
just had
obvious.
him not see Harry, like act as if he couldn't
Yeah.
see Harry because he wasn't told to see Harry, you know? Like have a really
Mhm.
blank stare.
Better run, Harry. Like, so they definitely are framing it like an action or thriller movie, so they don't really have time to explain a lot. So I think they're trying to
Yeah.
do the most with like the time they have to kind of build up the tension,
Hmm.
especially here. So something I read is that Robert Pattinson thought that holding the wands looked dorky, so he mostly holds his wand like he would hold a gun. And so I've been looking at all like the times where he's holding it like a gun.
Ridiculous.
This is like the most like tense thing ever. Like I think they did a really good job of like clarifying that like both Harry and Cedric are like, good guys, but they're also very competitive. And like this is like they're going to win.
Yeah.
And they're not really even like really doing any like serious acting right now. It's all just like action. Especially this scene here where Harry goes to save Cedric. Like you can see the indecision like here. Like you can see where he has to consider like is he going to go and win or is he going to save Cedric who helped him out?
Yeah. It's very honest of him.
Yeah, time to go, boys. Here's the beginning of the end.
I don't think I could properly time that out. I would accidentally go too soon or too late. Not on purpose,
Yeah,
but just like
definitely hard.
this is the jail you go to if you try and tie at the Triwizard Tournament. They send you directly to the graveyard.
And here we kind of get like the foreshadowing. Like we as the audience, we've been here before with the introduction, so we can kind of see it.
Hmm.
Harry's like, "We're in the danger zone."
And Cedric's never been in that kind of danger, so he's just like, how neat.
How neat! How cool! Is this part of the task? And Harry's like, "We're in trouble!" Ew, baby Voldemort.
Ugh.
Gross. So he's holding it like a gun.
Yeah, it's cheesy.
I think Cedric has a more kind of like, I guess, a more lingered on death a little bit. Like, obviously, it just kind of happens, and you're just kind of like, what the fuck did I just watch? But in the book, it's just like, he's dead. Moving
Yeah.
on. Gross. They
What?
really don't focus much on Wormtail cutting off his own hand, I guess, because of the PG rating and stuff. But he just kind of like drops his hand off, and he's like, okay, moving on. In the
No
book, he's
pain.
like, then like, I'm bleeding out. I'm crying. I'm in pain.
Yeah.
But what do you think of Voldemort's full transition?
He's gooey.
Yeah. I think that make it spooky enough that it's like a big deal, but not too scary that like obviously it wouldn't get rated up.
Yeah. I like the way the cloak makes itself out of
Yeah.
mist, so we don't
Yeah.
just see his butt or
Very
anything. Like
spooky.
I appreciate not having to see Voldemort's butt.
So I read that because Voldemort in the book obviously has red eyes because, he's evil or
Hmm.
whatever and snake-like. But in the film, they didn't want him to have red eyes because a lot of emotions conveyed through eyes and they want Raph to be able to,
Yeah.
convince people of like what emotions he's feeling.
I think his feet look too normal. They should have
Yeah.
made his toes look extra long, kind of like his fingers. There's something about I think that would have been a gentle touch to make him a little bit creepier there.
And also, what do you think of the voice? Because I remember you said when he said he had a high voice, you thought of squeaky voice. But I feel like they do a good job of him being like very
Yeah.
dramatic, kind of
It's
evil.
breathy. They make him
But
sound
yeah,
kind of breathy,
he's like, but my hand.
and he's allowed to be quiet and powerful because this Dumbledore decided to be loud and moody.
And I do think like the effects of the Death Eaters and how they kind of like apparate and
Yeah.
stuff.
It's visually very
Yeah,
cool.
all works out very well.
They just have those costumes waiting on the back of their doors just in case. Are they always
They
laundered and ready to
must.
go? So that was real quick.
Well, here we kind of have Voldemort
Welcome to
being,
my roast.
yeah, basically. Also name dropping all of these Death Eaters and the reveal that Lucius is in fact a Death Eater.
You can see his hair underneath his
Yeah, I
hood
know.
from the
But like,
beginning.
I like that I kept slippery friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good line. Oh, I hate how he touches him with his feet. So disrespectful.
It's really gross. His dirty feet. The ego. Almost as
Hmm.
famous as me. Like, okay, Lockhart, is that you?
We
He
can
does
really
this part
see,
very well. He really
yeah.
builds the suspense, moving so
So I feel
slowly, and
like,
like the angle of his hand.
yeah, and kind of like imitating him, like being like feeding off the cruelty.
Yeah.
Like because Voldemort doesn't really have much of a personality in the other books because he wasn't really like an entity, but now he's fully back and we have an actual
Yeah.
actor for it. So now Rafe needs to quickly kind of show Voldemort's personality and what he's like as a
Yeah.
character. I think he does a really great job. I think Dan also does a really great job of just, portraying Harry in this moment where like we said, reading these chapters, he's gone through so much so quickly and he's just kind of in shock and dissociating right now. Like Cedric's just dead over there.
Yeah. I feel like Rafe does such a great job acting that cloak. Like
Yeah. Like, the
he
way
doesn't
he
overact it.
moves with it. Yeah.
It's choppy yet kind of graceful. Like it's very,
He really gets like the dramatic edge of Voldemort.
yeah. Yeah, he's trying to kill him emotionally now too. He's trying to kill his
And I
spirit.
like how they still have Voldemort kind of monologuing
Yeah.
as he does.
He's a
And
villain. That's
here
what he does.
Harry's like, actually, they kind of have the moment where we talk a lot about how Harry just kind of accepts that he's going to die in
Hmm.
every book. So here is where he's like, I'm going to die, but I'm not going to die as a coward. I'm going to like
Yeah.
die fighting.
Which is so, that's
Yeah.
such a big moment. Him walking
Yeah.
out there, like, well, all right then. Expelliarmus, though. I mean,
Expelliarmus. Brought a spoon to a
I'm just gonna
gunfight.
yeet that wand, buddy. You watch out.
But this does look really epic and cool. Like we haven't really had any
Yeah.
like real duels. Like this is the first big duel between Harry and Voldemort. And so this obviously looks amazing.
Yeah. I
Even
appreciate how
10
much
years
Harry
later.
looks. He's physically trying. Like, it really does look like
Yeah.
he's like lifting weights. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the dome, the way they do the dome's interesting. Like they don't really focus on the Phoenix core about it or not. Like a little bit you
Yeah.
can hear it. And also the ghosts are also kind of cool.
Silly hat of his.
Go, Harry, go.
Voldemort's face.
Yeah, it's not happy. So obviously, I think this scene, obviously, where Harry comes back, he's traumatized, Cedric's dead, he's crying. Everyone just thinks that they've all won until people start to notice that Cedric's actually dead. And I
Yeah.
feel
It's
like the
so
movie does such
stressful.
a great part of showcasing this because as we're reading the book, we're seeing things through Harry's perspective. So Harry is traumatized. He's not focusing on like what he's seeing or hearing.
Hmm.
All he's thinking about is Voldemort's back, Cedric's dead. And so this really showcases like everyone's general emotions of seeing appear dead. Harry saying Voldemort's back.
He's doing such a good job of breaking down here.
Yeah. Yeah, for how young Daniel Radcliffe is in this moment, he does such a great job with this, like really conveying Harry's like trauma and what he's experienced. And obviously having Amos here and the actor does such a good job of really playing the heartbroken father. Like I feel like we ragged on Amos throughout the book, but I think
Hmm.
we don't really get this in the book because he's not focusing on it. But this
Yeah.
really showcases like how devastating Cedric's death
Yeah.
is. It's very sad.
That random girl had such a good focus shot with Neville there.
Yeah.
Random
Imagine being
extra.
that extra, being like,
Be like,
my
this is my
shining moment.
moment.
Yeah, and the score, obviously, it's bomb. It just
Beautiful.
like this is
Beautiful.
so devastatingly sad and like heartbreaking.
It's weird they
And
locked the
then,
door.
yeah, suspicious, and how it's still kind of dark, and Harry's just kind of like dissociating. Still gives him the seat though.
I mean, he's a bad guy, but he's a good guy. He's a terrible person, but he's a good guy.
If only he didn't choose a life of crime.
He would kill you in your sleep, but if you asked to borrow eggs because you were short for a recipe, he would totally lend you eggs. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yeah, I still feel that this moment would have more weight if we didn't kind of have an idea that Moody was evil. Because I feel like this is already kind of showing us that Moody's evil. And if we didn't have another suspect, I feel like this would be like it is in the book, where you're just so shocked that Moody's saying that he's the one that put his name in when we think it's actually Moody. But here it's kind of showing that he's probably not Moody.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Chamber of Secrets is a good like plot of this, where we're told that there's someone bad who opened the Chamber of Secrets and who's the heir Slytherin, and we think it's Malfoy. People think it's Harry, but then it turns out to be Ginny, and it's like that shock.
Yeah.
But obviously Jenny didn't do it on her own. It was Tom Riddle the
Yeah.
whole time. But I feel like it take by like putting it down our throats about it Moody not being Moody too early, it just takes away like the reward and or the shock of being like, oh my God, Moody's evil. Oh wait, it's not
Yeah.
Moody.
If Harry were Slytherin in that moment, when he caught Moody saying the graveyard without having mentioned graveyard himself,
Mhm.
he would have played along a little longer and gotten out of there. But he's a
Yeah.
Gryffindor, so he's just like, wait a minute. How do you know about a graveyard?
I definitely think it was probably a network, or not network, I guess, like the studio decision, because obviously WB wants as many people to see the movie as possible. So that's why they really want like a PG-13 rating so more people can see it. And it's generally it's meant to be for children. But I feel like a lot of times, like I said before, that like media just does it, they want to shove things at children to make sure they get it, but children are more like intelligent than we think. And I feel like
Yeah.
more people would have like got it if it wasn't such shoved down our throat. It's the same kind of problem we had with Goblet of Fire in regards to them just retelling information
Yeah.
constantly, where it's like I think m most children could have connected dots.
He's doing incredible face acting here. Like really
Hmm.
deranged.
Yeah. See, this I feel like with Michael Gambit having Dumbledore being so loud and angry kind of takes away from this moment because this could have been a real moment where we first see Dumbledore super angry and it would really stick out.
Yeah.
But because he's always yelling and he's just very like
Yeah.
loud and
It
out
takes
there
away
all the
the weight of
time,
it.
yeah.
It's not a novel or rare experience.
Hmm.
Also, we don't get enough of like, I want to see the faux glass better. I want to see
Hmm.
the faux glass with Dumbledore and them approaching. I think that's such a cool moment in the book, and they
Yeah,
don't
that would have
give
been
it
a cool
its
shot. But
moment
yeah,
here.
I think they just revealed the cards too soon. Like maybe if less time had been dedicated to maybe the dragon, they could have dedicated more time to just building up this big reveal.
He looks at Harry like, yeah, okay, fine. It wasn't you this time, Potter.
It's like, who the heck is this person then?
But of course, looking back, we know that David
Hmm.
Tennant's been around, and where's David Tennant? You kind of know who's coming at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah. And there he is. I mean, David Tennant's a great actor. And the other thing is that they don't really establish what happens to Barty Crouch Jr. I don't remember because the whole idea is that McGonagall gets pissed because the minister brought in a Dementor that killed him, basically. And
Yeah.
that's why, like, no one believes Harry. It's because they don't have anyone to corroborate what happened.
hmm
And they don't really say anything about that in Order of the Phoenix. Everyone just assumes Harry's lying. They don't say if, like, what
Yeah.
about this crazy guy we caught?
Yeah.
It is nice that they did keep this moment. I think it's important to kind of like, not only for Cedric as a character, but for like the audience to kind of like, we need that moment to kind of have them,
Grieve.
yeah, grieve the loss. Because this is the first main character death we have in the series.
Yeah,
And
like I said,
so,
it's
like
the first
readers, yeah,
active death. It's the first
yeah,
death that we're not looking back at in hindsight that happens
yeah,
actively.
exactly.
And it's important to teach kids who maybe haven't
Hmm.
lost anyone before how grief works a little bit. Like I think it's well done.
Yeah, and this is really showing that like Cedric's really gone. Like he's not coming back. There's no magic potion or anything.
Also, I like that the teachers are sitting down with the students, kind of like they're not sitting up on the
Yeah.
dais. It's very humanizing.
It almost feels like a memorial where
Yeah,
you
it
kind of have
does.
someone speaking, giving a eulogy, and they're all attending.
And they're all in black,
Yeah, mostly.
except for Beauxbaton. I like that they're spread out too. Like the Beauxbatons are mingled in with the
Yeah,
Hogwarts
I like
students,
it's
like
kind of showing the idea of unity as well, because that's what Dumbledore
togetherness.
is talking about. The whole point of this was to meet people, make friends, and it's
Yeah.
nice that they had them all kind of mixed up, so they're all kind of like one unit.
I think it's interesting that they show Draco even being sad there.
Yeah, Tom Felton plays Draco a lot differently than Draco is in the books. Because Harry gets really pissed off that Draco's not even like paying attention when Dumbledore's talking.
Yeah, but this Draco is he's more, I think he's played more sympathetic.
Yeah, I get what people when people say they like Draco, it's usually the way Tom Felton portrays Draco as being a bit more vulnerable, having a better, I think, a
Yeah.
nicer, more vulnerable side than what he actually has in the book.
hmm
It's interesting to see Dumbledore like in Harry's domain.
It's weird.
This Dumbledore actually apologizes. Yeah, they're really emphasizing in this end of this movie that like they're going into a war. So they're really
Yeah.
emphasizing the turning point, which I think is like what the last few chapters of Goblet of Fire really did anyway. They cut out the part with Fudge and
hmm
kind of Harry kind of there's a lot more of Harry kind of, overcoming what he experienced. He has that moment with Sirius, that forced handshake between Snape and Sirius would have been interesting to see.
Ugh.
But here they're kind of focusing on like the moving forward part.
Yeah. They're trying to be uplifting-ish.
Mhm. They didn't include part of Hermione's almost probably first kiss. Future sister-in-law.
He handles it better there. He doesn't faint after she kisses him on the cheek, you know?
Yeah, it's nice to see everyone kind of like intermingling and saying goodbye and like the friendships they've made and stuff.
I really love the
Hmm.
Beauxbaton uniform. I think it's really like
Hmm.
very French. It feels very
Yeah,
delicate. And I could totally see a version of it for the male students, like a flowy pant
yeah.
vibe that I think a slightly longer cape rather than that
Yeah,
little
I
cap
believe
shoulder.
their uniforms are described to be silk,
Yeah.
so it feels very couture.
Hmm.
I guess like the last little moment with the trio because this is kind of like, their growing pains moment where they're just kind of like, this is where everything changes. And I'm pretty sure everything will change was the tagline for this movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of reiterating that like, they're teenagers, they're grown up, and now there's going to be murder and death, and it's going to be darker. Nice little shot there.
Yeah. It very much mimics the reverse of that shot we get after the sixth,
Yeah, yeah, and the score here feels almost like hopeful. Like obviously
but
there's like
sad.
it's sad, but like almost a little bit hopeful,
Yeah.
leading into Or the Phoenix, where things are very dark and grim for most of it.
Yep.
But that is the end of Goblet of Fire. Little end credits are really cool too. I like how every movie has something that's kind of tied to the book for
Yeah.
the credits. But just wrapping up, how did you like Goblet of Fire as a whole movie?
I like it a lot. I think it's a really
Mhm.
good one. I think there's a lot of beautiful shots. I think they did a really good job casting the other like secondary characters around the trio. Like I think
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson did a great job. I think the actor
Hmm.
who plays Crumb did a great job. Clemens Posey did a great job as Fleur. I really
Yeah.
like that. It's the first time we see some of the ministry officials. I think that as well. I think most of the main choices of things they cut from the book make sense to me. Again, I'm a little bitter about the Phoenix, but I think most of the
Yeah.
cuts make sense. I think the only like sad overarching thing that I personally would have really liked is the Rita Skeeter is a unregistered animagi subplot, and mostly just
Yeah.
because I would love to see Hermione with her in a jar. Like I think that would be a very
Yeah.
satisfying moment at the end when it's very whimsical and deep and heavy when they're looking out to her have her be like, "Oh, and I sorted out the Rita Skeeter thing," and have her in a jar. Like
And
I
she's a
think that would have been
jar.
nice. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I
Yeah.
think that it's a Hermione's a badass moment, but also Hermione's kind of a funny and vindictive
Yeah.
moment, and I think that overall as an element would have
Yeah,
been
they don't
nice to
really
add.
focus on Hermione's unhinged qualities, which
Yeah,
is a shame
Hermione
because I
being
feel like
unhinged, yeah,
Emma
is
Watson
important.
could have played that, I think, and it
I
would have
think
been
she
really fun for
absolutely could
her.
have.
I
And
kind of agree
Quidditch.
with you. Yeah,
If they
yeah,
cut the
obviously.
dragon task shorter, we could have
Mhm.
gotten 30 seconds to a minute of
That
Quidditch.
would have been cool.
And we probably could have cut a little bit of something in order to make a little bit of room for the Rita Skeeter is a beetle blot.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I feel like these aren't as nostalgic to me. I feel like the first three are very nostalgic. I have a lot of like warm childhood feelings associated with them. I don't have a lot of issues with them. They all pretty well closely follow the book. This is kind of the first one that really cuts stuff out and that I noticed things they cut out.
Hmm.
I don't really have any issues with what was there. Because I feel like
Yeah.
it follows the main plot. You don't really miss the stuff. The stuff they cut out wasn't super necessary. But
Yeah,
there's just stuff that
absolutely.
I would have liked to see. Like I
Yeah,
would have
it
liked to
maintains
see.
all of its primary
Yeah.
integrity, which is nice. The casting is great. The
Mhm.
visuals, the music, again, except for the songs with words. The
Yeah, this
lyrics,
score
man,
actually might be one of my favorite Harry Potter scores.
it's so beautiful.
it's really good. But I feel like this is the point where I feel like this is the last movie where I feel like this is the first one that really cut stuff out, but I don't really miss it. It's more just like I wish I could have seen it because it would have been nice to see Dudley with his tongue all enlarged. It would have been nice to see
Yes.
like the Hermione and Harry and Rita Skeeter debacle, from confronting Harry, Hermione with the jar at the end of the book. Like those all would have been really
Yeah,
fun to see, but they're not necessary
they
really.
aren't. No.
But I feel like going into especially Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince, this is where they really cut stuff out that I think makes it worse, or it cuts out things
Yeah,
that are important and adds things that are not important. And it really, I think, does it confuses some of the characterizations I find with like the main
absolutely.
characters and their motivations. And then obviously Deathly Hallows has to kind of like rush to kind of correct things, which I think also hurts
Yeah.
that as a film as well.
There are certainly
But
essential plot pieces that like are
mhm.
actually really important, like the entire backstory of the Hufflepuff's Cup, for example.
Yeah.
That is really important to understand the Hallows and the Horcruxes, and they take those things out, and those are serious issues in plot. This has no plot issues.
And this is generally good. And it's a fun movie to see. So I think we were rating the movies out of 5. So how many stars would you give Goblet of Fire? Yeah, I
I don't
know.
remember what I gave the other ones.
Neither do I.
Like, I'm assuming we gave Azkaban 5 stars because it's our favorite.
My
So,
favorite's Chamber of Secrets, but I do like
okay,
Prisoner
well,
of
you're wrong.
Azkaban.
No, I'm joking.
I'm just a Chris Columbus girly. I love the first two movies are like my favorite ones.
Fair. I maybe give this a 4. Like I said, like
hmm
nothing. The little things that I wish were there don't change the world, and they did a really good job in a lot of other things. And they make me like Cedric enough that I miss him.
hmm
So I think
Yeah.
that's a
I
lot of
think,
hard work to
yeah.
do to miss a character you just met.
Yeah, but I think I'd give this like a 3.5 because like I do like it, but I feel like I reach for the other three ones are ones I reach more just because they have that nostalgic factor and there is changes to this one, but I feel like overall I really do enjoy it. And this is probably like the highest I think I'll rate the first four because I think the next few are ones that I
Go
have moments that I
downhill.
like, but like overall I think I have a lot more issues with them. But
Yeah,
we'll see. I
believe
mean,
me.
they have changed as an adult. Maybe I'll be more
I
lax. Who
don't think
knows?
so. I think they're round. We're gonna
Well, not
it's
for
gonna go downhill.
definitely not for Half-Blood Prince.
I was just going to say that I think one of the reasons why, even though I like this film, maybe it's one of my favorites in hindsight, I
Mm-hmm.
still also go back to the first three more. And I think it's because when I'm in the mood for Harry Potter, it's cozy and comforting. And this is just a
Yeah,
sadder and heavier film. Like sometimes I'm not in
I
the
think
mood to
that's
deal
why I
with
feel
the
the same way.
heaviness. I'm just like,
Yes.
it's like going back to a Disney movie that you liked as a kid, you know? It's softer, it's fluffier. And I think that's why I watch the other three
Yeah,
more,
this movie
even if
has
I
a bit
like
more
this one so
angst.
much.
I definitely get that. But just a reminder that this is a video podcast, so you can watch this on YouTube and you can also now watch it on Spotify. Thanks
Ooh,
to some new features.
who
So if
knew?
you want to see kind of what scenes we're talking about and everything and see our fun backgrounds, hop on over there to watch it. But thanks for listening, and we will return soon with our Order of the Phoenix chapters shortly at some point. Not sure,
Eventually.
not sure when yet, but that will be happening next. So our next episode will be covering chapter one of Order of the Phoenix, and we're almost at our 100 episodes. So I just wanted to say
Wow.
to anyone who has been listening, either from the beginning or just maybe right now, thank you so much for listening to our ramblings about this series, and we hope you stick around for more deep analysis as we get into kind of the meaty Order of the Phoenix of it all.
The
But this
meat.
episode's also an audio. It's also an audio podcast, so you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're also on social media at Potter Revisited, and you can email us any thoughts or opinions or anything you'd like us to know at potterrevisitedpodcast@gmail.com, and we will see you next time.
Bye.